Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. It also partially restricts and limits the entry of nationals from an additional 7 nations, including Burundi, Cuba, Laos, and Venezuela. According to the White House, these common-sense restrictions include places that lack proper vetting, exhibit high visa overstay rates, or fail to share identity and threat information.
That's Fox's Kristen Goodwin. The Boulder, Colorado terrorist suspect in the U.S. illegally for overstaying his visa, Mohammed Solomon, returns to court today facing state charges this time.
Now, these charges come after a dozen people were injured at a march calling for the release of Israeli hostages on Sunday. And late yesterday, a U.S. district judge in Colorado issued an order temporarily blocking the deportation of Solomon's wife and his 5 children.
Fox's Brooke Singman. Israel's military has gone into Gaza and recovered the bodies of 2 more hostages. Yehudi Weinstein Haggai was born in the U.S., and her husband Gad. Both were killed in the Hamas terror attack in October 2023 that triggered Israel's war. Hamas still holds 56 hostages, but about a third of those are believed to be alive. Now to the war in Ukraine.
Just hours after a call between President Trump and Putin, another deadly drone strike by Russia. Ukrainian officials say 6 drones of the type made by Iran hit residential areas in the northern city of Pryluki.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. 5 people were killed. President Trump says in their phone call, Putin said he plans to respond to Ukraine's attacks the other day, destroying a lot of Russian bombers. America's listening to Fox News.
From the Fox News Podcasts Network.
I'm Janice Dean, Fox News senior meteorologist and host of the Janice Dean Podcast. Join me every Sunday as I focus on stories of hope and people who are truly rays of sunshine in their community and across the world. Be sure to subscribe to the Janice Dean Podcast at foxnewspodcast.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And don't forget to spread the sunshine.
America's listening to Fox News. From the Fox News Podcasts Network.
This is Jason Chaffetz from the Jason in the House podcast. Join me every Monday to dive deeper into the latest political headlines and chat with remarkable guests to hear their take on American life, politics, and entertainment. And don't forget, there's always somebody doing something stupid somewhere.
Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcast.com
or wherever you download podcasts.
Must listen to podcasts from Fox News Audio.
There is a gathering of NATO allies in Brussels. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is there.
We're prepared to step up. We need our allies to step up as well as we stand alongside them.
Helping Ukraine battle Russia, likely among the topics. So is Hegseth's push for countries in the NATO alliance to spend more on the defense, at least 5% of their GDP. A House hearing focused on NATO.
Former U.S. Rep to NATO, Julianne Smith, praised the coalition.
NATO's enduring strength lies not only in its military might, but in the shared values of its members and their collective commitment to defend one another.
But witnesses also pointed out looming dangers, in particular the aggressive actions of Russia's Vladimir Putin. Dr. Niall Gardner is the director of the Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom.
Without NATO, the brutal reality is that Russian forces would very likely today be rolling into the Baltic states and deep into Europe.
Witnesses also cited Russia's problematic alliance with China and called for NATO's European members to contribute more to the coalition financially. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Nebraska is the latest state to do what President Trump's also tried to do through executive action.
Nebraska Governor Republican Jim Pillen signed a measure into law that bans biological males from playing in girls' sports. Supporters say it protects women and girls and their ability to fairly compete in sports. Opponents call it discriminatory. The law, in which at least 24 other states and counting have also adopted.
That's Fox's Jeff Manasso. The battle for hockey's Stanley Cup starts with an overtime thriller.
There's McDavid.
Draisaitl's second goal of the game won it for Edmonton, 4-3 on TNT, taking Game 1 against the defending champion Florida Panthers in a rematch of last year's NHL Cup final. On Wall Street, stock futures rising modestly before today's trading. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
As you know, our friend Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of your life. He didn't stop by simply creating the best pillow. Mike created the best bed sheets ever. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial for my busy schedule. Mike is offering the best deal on his Giza Dreams bed sheets. Any size and any color, just $49.98. That's right, you can even get queens, kings, split kings, and cow kings. Any size and any color, just $49.98. $49.98. Order now because when they're gone, they're gone. Also, for a limited time, when your order is over $100, you'll receive $100 in free digital gifts. Call 800-489-0201. Use promo code LIBERTY or go to mypillow.com. Make sure you use the promo code LIBERTY for the amazing offer of $49.98 on the Giza Dreams sheets, any size and any color. That number again is 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
It's important to have a heating and cooling company you know you can depend on. That company is the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling. They aren't one of those massive companies with newer techs and subcontractors. Oh no, Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling send only their own highly skilled techs. From service to installation and everything in between, the work quality and service is the best. For 40 years, the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling has kept homeowners and business customers comfy and warm in the winter and nice and cool in the warmer months. Don't call the big guys, call the best. Call Carrie at 847-545-1700 or visit arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.net. That's Carrie at 847-545-1700 or online at arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.net. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, not the biggest, just the best.
Attention American homeowners, you're under attack. Your home and equity could be vulnerable to cyber thieves. There's only one company that completely stops them, and that company is Equity Protect. Equity Protect prevents any attempts to steal your home, equity, and ownership 24/7. Get your free risk report today by texting the word HOME to 94878. That's right, text the word HOME to 94878 to get your free risk report. Keep your equity and legacy safe with Equity Protect.
It's almost time for AM 560's annual golf outing, presented by Signature Bank. And once again, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation as they support America's first responder and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. It's all happening on Wednesday, June 18th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. Enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf.
It's June 5th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Hot Air Balloon Day. It's the oldest form of flight technology used for carrying humans, following the first manned flight in 1783. The heated air inside the envelope has a lower density than that of the cold air outside, causing it to rise. In 1981, first cases of AIDS are reported. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention describing 5 cases of a rare form of pneumonia, a deadly immune deficiency disease which later became known as AIDS.
Singing sensation all over the country, Elvis Presley.
In 1956, Elvis Presley first performs Hound Dog live on TV on The Milton Berle Show. Also on this day in 1883, the first Orient Express leaves Paris. The legendary train journey from Paris to Istanbul featured in many works of popular culture, including Bram Stoker's Dracula and Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express. I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
Your business is under attack 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a fact. Small businesses are the low-hanging fruit. You may think you're protected, but you're vulnerable in many ways, and cyber attackers actively prey on small businesses. But Turnkey can protect you. Turnkey is the key to cyber protection. Turnkey has a quick and efficient 12-point evaluation to determine if your business, your profits, are at risk. And right now, for a limited time, Turnkey is offering the first month of service to all new customers free. Peace of mind, free. It includes all Microsoft licensing, antivirus, anti-malware, and completed data backup both on-site and off-site, plus help desk support. Don't leave you, your employees, and your customers vulnerable. Talk to Turnkey. Visit turnkey.pro. 3 decades of experience. That's turnkey.pro. Turnkey, the champion of small business.
Come on with this, people. Move it!
Did you really think you could make that company deliver yourself?
Oh, I cannot handle any more traffic.
You could be getting much more done at your place of business.
I've wasted 45 minutes and now this place is gonna close.
Time is money. Let Quick Delivery Service take on the traffic hassle for you. They'll deliver almost anything, from large pallets of materials to important documents, or both. No forms, no labels, no scanning. Just tell Quick Delivery Service where it's going. They'll pick it up and get it to your destination quickly. Your cargo delivery is tracked in real time with GPS. Notifications are delivered right to your inbox. Visit QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. Or you can deliver like this.
Seriously, another train?
Or get your delivery there on time with QuickDelivery.com. Or call 847-534-2244. 847-534-2244.
This is a special alert during this window replacement season. Don't get tricked by the cheapest offers and gimmicky ads. Now's the time to see and feel the difference of high-performance windows from Valdecas.
When it's time to consider new windows, siding, and doors for your home, you need to look no further. Sebastian Gorka here to tell you about Valdecas. Valdecas has been the trusted name chosen by thousands of homeowners, and they should be your #1 choice too. But what's really behind the name Valdecas? Over 25 years of a team dedicated to providing you with the best customer service experience and products that truly bring value to your home. They are a Pella Platinum Elite Status certified contractor for a reason. They have an A+ rating with the BBB, as well as high ratings and positive reviews on both Google and Houzz. Schedule your free in-house consultation at Valdecas.com.
Ask about their exclusive manufacturer warranties and their 10-year workmanship guarantee.
Don't wait. Book today at Valdecas.com. For the best in class, it's Valdecas.
I'm worried about Mom. She's having a tough time moving around the house.
Oh, I know. She still thinks she can do everything on her own.
Exactly, but I've been over there every day this week, helping her navigate the stairs, cooking meals, reminding her to take her medicine. I'm always nervous when I leave.
You know what? I admire you for taking care of Mom. But your family needs you too. And what if she slips and falls? A friend recommended the caregivers at Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest. They service Cook, DuPage, Kane, and Will counties. They guarantee compatibility and they'll conduct a free safety assessment of her home. Plus, they'll provide as little or as much care as Mom needs.
Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest, offering both hourly and live-in care. Schedule a free assessment today by calling 331-281-0728. That's 331-281-0728. Again, that's 331-281-0728. And tell them AM 560 sent you. Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest. Senior care, only better.
Did you know that AM 560 Radio has a full-service digital marketing division called Salem Surround? If you're a business decision maker, listen up. AM 560 listeners are everywhere your potential audience is. So are our incredible targeting capabilities. We localize digital marketing and put it within reach of every business, small and large, in Chicagoland and beyond. Salem Surround offers AI-powered marketing solutions that reach your ideal audience. Whether or not you tap into the proven live, local, and emotional connection that AM 560 Radio brings, Salem Surround offers a total marketing solution to our partners. All-in-one digital solutions that provide targeted local digital and social media ads, Google AdWords management, website services, video strategy, search optimization, and even a management dashboard to offer you total campaign updates and transparency. Your Salem Surround representative is located right here in Chicago. Experience the Salem Surround digital revolution today. Call 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask like 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Perhaps you're a collector. Or perhaps all of a sudden you have a collection. Maybe it's an inheritance. How do you know what it's worth? This is Sean Thompson for Donley Auction. The market for antiques and collectibles is changing all the time. What is your collection worth right now? Well, I've got an easy way to find out. It's simple. You contact Donley Auctions with their worldwide audience of live and in-person auctions. They have a good idea of how to tell you exactly what it's worth at exactly right now. They're ready to put top dollar in your pocket. The bigger the collection, the better. Go to DonleyAuctions.com and get the info on all things that they buy and sell to have an idea of exactly what Donley does and how much they need your collection. They have so many buyers, it's a great time to sell. Just simply make a phone call. Donley has traveled all over the country to pick up collections. Just call and talk to the people at Donley Auctions at 815-923-7000. Donley Auctions is your trusted partner in turning your collections into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
It's your life, your legacy. Shouldn't it be your choice? For nearly 2 centuries, Catholic Cemetery Chicago has been a haven for families, offering sacred spaces to honor these legacies. Take an active role by pre-planning your final arrangements. Alleviate your loved ones a future financial burden. Lock in today's prices and take advantage of no interest payments and no hidden fees. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
The Charlie Kirk Podcast is on the Salem Podcast Network.
The media far too often has become the enemy of the people. The media told those of us that noticed Joe Biden's mental decline for years that you are wrong, that you are spreading mis and disinformation. They knew how bad this was, and these reporters actively covered up one of the greatest scandals in American history.
Subscribe today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
Want to see if you could pay less in taxes? Try the quick and easy tax calculator at willsave.com. Yes, a free tax calculator. That's WILSAVE.com. Calculate how you could keep more of your hard-earned money and give less to Uncle Sam, especially in retirement. Get your free tax analysis today at willsave.com. And don't forget to tune in to Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman every Saturday morning at 8, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Areas of morning fog, otherwise warmer today. Some clouds and sun. A high today 74. Cloudy tonight with a low of 56. And then tomorrow partly sunny with a high 75. Sunny to partly cloudy. Nice day on Saturday, the high 73. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
The summer heat in Chicagoland is no joke. And if your old air conditioner is making funny noises, you may already know it's time for a new unit.
Look, your air conditioner, it's a disaster. People are telling me it's the worst ever.
Don't sweat it. Literally. When it comes to cooling your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Rebates are still available. Financing is flexible. And at Air Right, installations are smooth and professional with no surprises.
It's beautiful. Some people say it's the coolest air anyone's ever felt. I don't know. That's just what they're saying. It's doing an incredible job. Really tremendous.
Plus, tell them AM 560 sent you and Air Right will give you $56 off any service. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling. Doing it right since 1959.
Be prepared for tax changes in 2025. Without a solid strategy, you could risk losing more of your hard-earned savings than necessary. VestGen Wealth Partners can help develop proactive tax plans designed to help keep more money in your pockets. Visit GetRetiredStayRetired.com for a free review.
Advisory services offered through VestGen Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Private Client Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC. Private Client Services and VestGen Advisors, LLC are unaffiliated entities. Any information discussed does not constitute investment advice. VestGen Advisors and Private Client Services do not offer tax legal advice.
Hey,
Hey, heard you're getting ready to move.
We just listed our house on the market.
Just make sure you have the right attorney.
Doesn't the real estate agent take care of all that?
They stay involved, but you want to make sure you have a great lawyer that's negotiating the terms, helping resolve inspection items, clearing up title issues, preparing the deed and other documents, and attending the closing.
The attorneys at Nauman & Associates in Elk Grove Village have decades of experience handling real estate transactions every day all over Chicagoland. NALawGroup.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. You can't keep a good woman down, and former White House spokeswoman KJP Karine Jean-Pierre is back. Have you missed her? I have, because she's great entertainment value. She's got a new book out. And
it's called.
Here's the intended announcement. I mean, this is
big deal, people.
This is a seismic shift. She can no longer bring herself to call herself a new Marxist, or I guess the term they use, the euphemism, is Democrat.
Hi, I'm Karine Jean-Pierre, and I am the author of a new book that's coming out this fall called Independent. It's coming out on October 21st, so please do grab it. And the reason I wrote this book, coming out of the White House, you know, serving as White House press secretary was an honor and a privilege. But since I have left, the people that come up to me, strangers that come up to me just across the country as I'm traveling, and sometimes right in my neighborhood, at a grocery store, supermarket, airport, my daughter's school, the number one question they ask me is, Karine, how do we get out of this? How do we protect our democracy? How do we protect vulnerable communities among us? What do we do next? Because we don't have answers here. That's what they ask me. And this is my answer. And what I mean by that is, in an era of misinformation, disinformation, the regressiveness of social policy, what we're seeing currently right now, what I have decided to do, and I really have thought long and hard about this, is to follow my own compass. And that's what I've done. And that's what this book does. And here's the truth. And here's how I will lay it out to you. I think we need to stop thinking in boxes and think outside the box and not be so partisan. And the way that I see moving forward in this space that we're in right now is, if you are willing to stand side by side with me, regardless of your how you identify politically, and as long as you respect the community that I belong to and vulnerable communities that I respect, I will be there with you. I will move forward with you. And that is, I think, so important.
312-642-5600. That's our turnkey.pro answer line. You could also text us.
I'm sorry, I lost consciousness for a moment there. I'm back. Also, too, I mean, just it's premiering this fall, as she mentioned. But if you pre-order now, it comes with a drag queen who will read that 200 pages of gibberish to you. Could you imagine? Could you imagine the dreck contained in Independent, and having to read this in addition to having to listen to her, even for 30 seconds?
I can't. You just have to. You're right. You go to your happy space.
I mean, how many times have you heard this from the sort of basically room temperature IQs that populate the political circles? We have to
think outside
we have to come together.
Yes.
And we can do that if you don't come to the table with your partisan views, but you respect mine. And then we have this independent path to save our democracy. I mean, it's literally words that are offered in sort of these identitarian aphorisms that you can just it's like a jigsaw puzzle. I mean, you just sort of piece them together, and then the sum total of them is a picture that is completely unintelligible. I'm glad to see that she's got this thing going, because I know she wanted to be on The View, or at least I read that, and they didn't call her back. I think actually KJP...
They've moved on.
Well, I think KJP is going to have a real tough time finding gainful employment, not because there isn't some sinecure or some big PR firm where she can disappear, but because she was
so bad at her job. She's been the worst spokesperson in my lifetime.
Yeah, but she's a punchline. She's just an object of derision. And it's very hard to be a public-facing person if you're sort of an object of derision across the spectrum, which she is now, and thus is her reinventing herself as an independent, because she is on the record not only being one of the lead flacks for among the Confederacy of Dunces that tried to pass Biden off as cognitively with it, exacting, probing, dynamo. But she just had alienated herself back in the post-mortem, you'll recall, when she said it was a firing squad, and I've never seen anything like it. And she took great offense to all the institutional Dems that collaborated to get Biden out of the race. So she's a bit of a woman without a country, and she doesn't really have the skill sets to survive in the wild on her own. Thus, this gambit of becoming an independent and scrawling a book about it.
Yeah, 312-642-5600. And then when she comes back to the Democratic Party, would the book title be I'm Back? Or Let Me In, a sequel to her first book, Independent?
Yeah, it'll be very MacArthur-esque. Here are some of the highlights, too, of what I'm talking about. Why is she... I think I'm really serious about this. I think she's like virtually unemployable. And by the way, her predecessor, Jen Psaki, who is seen as somewhat more serious, and she understands the operative circles, and she knows how to present herself as the professional prevaricator like they like. Well, I mean, her show is drawing hashtags in terms of ratings, so she may not be long for the world of the MSNBC desk either. Here are some KJB classics on Biden, which is one of the things that makes her box office poison for Dems.
Does the president have the stamina, physically and mentally, do you think, to continue on even after 2024?
Don, you're asking me this question. Oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. I can't even keep up with him. We just got back from New Mexico. We just got back from California. That is not a question that we should be even asking.
Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? She must not be here.
No, I totally understand. I just explained she was on top of mind.
The book is suggesting the president tells aides he's tired.
But that's in the excerpt, right?
Yeah, and that's why there have been so few public events before 10 a.m.
I mean, that's a ridiculous assumption to make.
President Biden is the oldest president in U.S. history. Why does White House staff treat him like a baby?
No one treats the president of the United States, the commander-in-chief, like a baby.
So there's this book that says
that's ridiculous.
When staff
that's a ridiculous claim. I would put the president's stamina, president's wisdom, ability to get this done on behalf of the American people against anyone.
How is President Biden ever going to convince the 3/4 of voters who are worried about his physical and mental health that he is okay, even though in Las Vegas he told a story about recently talking to a French president who died in 1996?
I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole with you, sir.
Oh, doth I offend thee, fair lady? Sir? Sir? Oh, we got very haughty with Peter Doocy there.
You're right, though. She's unemployed.
How dare you, sir?
She's unemployed. Well, a former colleague said once she made a joke about being an independent, and now it's a book. All ideas are monetary, even the dumb ones. And then another person who shall remain anonymous said that she did hope that all of her appearances on The View would lead to an offer to host a roundtable show, but nothing, no offers came.
Phone just came up.
MSNBC offer didn't come.
In the what was the immortal words of Randy Travis? If your phone. Wait. This is a great line in country music. But I'm reaching here. If my phone still ain't ringing, I guess it still ain't you.
There you go.
That was her experience with The View, apparently. Here is a preview, as if her post to social media wasn't compelling enough. This is from the publisher. Boy, this takes almost as much stones as KJP's description of Biden as a dynamo she can't keep up with. Although she actually may be the one person who couldn't keep up with him. In a hard-hitting yet hopeful critique, Jean-Pierre defines what it means to be part of the growing percentage of our fractured electorate that is independent. Why it can be worthwhile to carve a political space more loyal to personal beliefs than a party affiliation, and what questions you need to ask yourself to determine where you fit politically. Just in time for Christmas this season. Orlando on the north side.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Amy. She reminds me of a girl called Chrissy in Three's Company, played by Suzanne Summers, but here we are in modern times in 2025, and probably the worst press secretary I've seen in my lifetime.
Thanks for the call. She didn't have the range of Suzanne Summers or the attributes. I think Independent probably gets optioned.
You think so?
For the big screen. Who plays KJP in that?
What's her name from? Kerry Washington. What?
This is not going to be an A-list production.
You just rolled your. A girl can dream. I could have independent thoughts.
You just heard who would play her in that exchange. You just heard it. You just heard it in the montage. You just heard who's going to play KJP in the movie version of Independent.
All right. Who's going to be her wife, Susanna?
Well, did you even know?
No, I was busy.
It's going to be Don Lemon.
Stop it.
Larry Elmhurst.
Hey, good morning. Hey, she reminds me of a local politician. She can't stay out of the spotlight, and these local politicians, they can't either. All they need is another pension.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Larry. Well, that, a couple $100,000 maybe she made as press secretary is more money than she's probably ever made in her life or ever will or ever could, other than seeing if you can hawk this book to the rank and file. But I just, they want to put Biden and Biden inner circle in the rearview mirror just as fast as they can. Some of the behind the scenes consultants will survive, because they, are reptiles, know how to operate in this ecosystem. KJP, witless. David in Winnetka.
Hey, good morning, guys. I don't know. I think it's a genius idea. She's like the bad car accident, the horrible car accident you don't want to look at as you pass, but you can't help it. And just, who doesn't miss this freak show and all the craziness that she would say? I think it's going to be a hit.
It was a lot of entertainment value for us. That's true. All right, coming up at 5:38, ICE visits the South Loop with a little bit of artifice to pick up and remove people who have final orders of deportation, sort of understated in the Chicago political press coverage of this ICE operation in Chicago. 5:38.
And Democrats finally want people to take their masks off. But now let's head into that newsroom. Here is Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 55 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. President Trump is doubling down on calls to eliminate the country's debt ceiling.
In a post on Truth Social, Trump said he's pleased to finally agree with Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren on something after she called to get rid of it forever. Trump said the debt ceiling should be scrapped to prevent an economic catastrophe, calling it too devastating to be put in the hands of political people. The president said Republicans and Democrats need to come together to get this done. I'm Lisa Taylor.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics is scaling back the data it collects on consumer prices, the basis for measuring inflation. Every month, federal workers visit stores across the country to check the price of things like eggs, haircuts, and countless other goods and services. On Wednesday, the Bureau says it was scaling back in some areas and had stopped collecting data entirely in Buffalo, New York, Lincoln, Nebraska, and Provo, Utah. It says it made cuts when the resources no longer were there to support data collection, while also saying the cutbacks would have a minimal impact on inflation estimates. Craftsman days are here at Lowe's. Save $100 on the Craftsman V20 Max 6-tool power tool combo kit. Now just $199. Head to your nearest Lowe's store for big savings on tools today. Valid through June 18th while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now...
Larry Elder isn't happy with where some of his tax dollars end up.
Half of the taxpayers in America are conservative, but 100% of taxpayer dollars that go to Harvard go from conservatives and liberals. And if Harvard hires professors, obviously because of their viewpoint, and I am supporting Harvard through my taxpayer dollars, whether it's for research or for student loans, I have a problem with that.
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, it's Sean Thompson. You know, there's an old saying out there. Small hinges swing big doors. In other words, doing little things right can have a big result. Tom Fortino and the team of Alpha Wealth Group have been helping people retire since 2010 and have found that while many have an investment plan, very few have a tax plan. And that can be the element that makes a huge difference when it comes to money you'll have to spend in your retirement. What if you had a plan that protected you against future tax increases by the government? What if it kept your Social Security taxes from going up, all while keeping your Medicare premiums down? It is possible, and that's just the beginning. What kind of hinges are on your retirement door? You either have a tax plan or you don't. Call Tom Fortino and the team at Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-864-6711. That's 630-864-6711. Or download his complimentary Alpha Wealth reports by visiting alphawealthgroup.com.
At Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, we honor traditions, celebrate faith, and cherish memories. Take an active role in establishing your legacy for future generations by pre-planning your final arrangements today. Alleviate your loved ones of future financial burden. Lock in today's prices and take advantage of interest-free financing and no hidden fees. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
Larry Elder here. More than 200 members of Congress are standing up for AM radio listeners. The AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act will keep AM radio in cars because when cell and internet services are down, this free service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 39179 and tell Congress to pass this critical legislation now. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
Now, your official weather forecast.
A bit of fog around this morning, otherwise some clouds and sun. A high today, 74. Cloudy for tonight, low 56. Partly sunny day tomorrow, the high 75. Sunny to partly cloudy, terrific day on Saturday. High Saturday, 73. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. By the way, there are some people who have pre-ordered KJP's new book, Independent, that we were discussing.
Early Christmas gift for me, Dan, or birthday present for the fall.
They've posted some of their reviews online just to help to drive sales, drive pre-orders.
Yeah.
So, the reviews are in, and
wow,
the rank and file seem to like it.
Thank you for that sneak peek.
So ICE did a little op in the South Loop yesterday, much to the chagrin of some of our feudal lords in the city and the open borders denizens that put them in their aldermanic sinecures. And partly it's because of this this terrible artifice that was used to get people to come to a location under one theory of what they were texted to do, which was, come to this place to do a check-in on your status, your immigration status.
Yeah.
And then ICE was waiting to take them into custody because here's the important point that will be lost, and it has been lost in most of the coverage. There is no pending status. Their pending status is they have final orders of deportation. They have had their due process and have found to not have made a credible case for amnesty. They have no basis to be in this country. They're here illegally, and they have an administrative determination to that end.
I didn't hear that on Channel 5 or Channel 7 or Channel 9.
No, you heard...
All I heard was hysterics. Oh, God, they're taking the people away.
You heard Alderman Andre Vasquez, one of the card-carrying neo-Marxists on the council.
Law-abiding people coming to report to do the right thing, and they come to meet the government with guns looking to separate families.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Looking to do the right thing, they have a final order of removal. I just can't say it enough because, again, this is buried. The lead is, they were told to come. I mean, this is, by the way, perfectly legal. It is customary. How many times have you heard about these sort of misdirectional operations done by local law enforcement where they tell a bunch of people that are fugitives from the law? They used to do it, pre-smartphone days. They used to do it like with phone calls. Come to this location for free Bulls tickets, and they show up and they take you into custody because you're disarmed, both sort of mentally as well as physically. You bring in I brought my kid to get the Bulls tickets. Well, hey, sorry, you're a fugitive from the law. We're taking you into custody. And it's a de-escalated way to bring people into custody. That is safer for them and safer for law enforcement. And now this is just being applied to immigration law enforcement.
312-642-5600. And they're not disappearing in the middle of the night. Remember that narrative? Broad daylight, they texted them to come to that location. And people were not happy, regular passerbys walking down the street.
Hello to Chicago! Hello to Chicago! Out of Chicago! Leave this town alone!
And other people were screaming, we're a sanctuary city. You can't touch them.
Those aren't regular passerbyers.
No. Wow.
How did Andre Vasquez show up?
Oh, because somebody texted, I know for a fact for Channel 5, somebody called the newsroom and said, they're texting us to come to this location, and then they just took my mother away. So then they went, and then everybody found out about it on social media. And then, of course, the aldermen came because, they have to, because they care about their constituents. Here's Alderman Anthony Quezada.
After ICE agents secured the door, over 10 people were brought out in handcuffs.
Yeah.
Fathers, our neighbors, mothers, people were coming out here in line, crying, demanding that they not be taken away while their family members stood on the side, crying for them to be released.
I'm sorry they're upset, but it's a simple question. Was there a final order of deportation? Was it a legitimate arrest in furtherance of removal proceedings that have been authorized by the federal government? Which part of this? But it's, of course, I get it. It's the sentimentality. It's the sophistry. It's the somehow, if you're in this country illegally and you have kids, that is an
out or a get out of jail free card?
Well,
it's not.
It's immunity. You have immunity from law enforcement. American citizens who are fathers or mothers don't. People here illegally who are fathers and mothers do. Okay, I got it. ABC 7 reporting on a letter that was quickly fired off by, again, another card-carrying neo-Marxist, Congresswoman Delia Ramirez. And then sort of in real time, you got a statement from BLM Brandon's office as well. Sure, everybody has to be on the record on this one.
In a letter to Homeland Security, Congresswoman Delia Ramirez of Illinois' 3rd District says these tactics by DHS, quote, circumvent the Constitution, undermine due process, and erode the rule of law.
And we just got a statement in from Mayor Johnson's office condemning what they call a reckless and dangerous escalation by ICE agents.
Reckless and dangerous.
It's just the whole, like, Delia Ramirez, like, due process, it's a danger. It's like listening to KJP talk about partisan politics. It just has no basis in reality. But it doesn't matter. You just string these phrases together in whichever order, and that's all you need to do in certain neighborhoods and certain districts to, live parasitically off your constituents. Ray in Barrington, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes. Good morning. It's a final order of deportation as issued by the Joe Biden and Kamala Harris administration.
I assume that's right. That's a good point. Thanks for the call. I assume that these were not adjudicated under Trump, but just because of the time frame we're talking about here with the Trump administration only being in for 4 months. I think that I don't know that in every case, but I assume that's more likely to be correct than not. But even if it was Trump, it doesn't matter. But I mean, to the point, it even makes it more ridiculous, these claims of due process. So your guy, the previous administration, and all the administrative hearings that were done and all the final orders of removal that were issued, those are all violations of due process and dangerous infringements on people's rights and separating families and so on and so forth. But again, there's no standard with these people. And certainly, honesty is not just it's not just a stranger; it's an enemy. Joe in Naperville.
Hey, thanks, Democrats. You gave me a get out of jail free card. So next time I go knock off a bank, I'm going to have my toddler in the car so I don't get arrested. And these ICE agents, I pray to God that they go after some of these politicians and some of these media people for slander and sue them. How dare they say that they're being, criminals and doing these things? That is so slanderous. I hope that they get their due process in court and go after them civilly.
And they want their masks down. That, protesters and rioters and Antifa and then your regular gang-banging thugs on the streets, they wear masks all the time. So they hide their identity. ICE is doing it because people are going after them and their family members.
I got a compromise, and I think this would work. All ICE agents just wrap their faces in a keffiyeh.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that. Oh,
be perfect. So then they couldn't object. The left wouldn't object.
You're right. You know what? That's a great idea. Or maybe an N95 mask.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit more controversial, but there's nothing controversial about the keffiyeh. I mean, we have half the city council. Half the Latino caucus and the city council walks around town in keffiyehs because they're so committed to freeing Palestine and other such things, Do
you know violence against ICE agents is up 431%? Well, I mean,
what does that
because
mean?
you have bozos like Hakeem Jeffries wanting. You've got the mayor. First of all, you have the mayor of Nashville who has every ICE agent's name and home address, and then you have Hakeem Jeffries saying this.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America. This is not the Soviet Union. We're not behind the Iron Curtain. This is not the 1930s. And every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will, of course, be identified.
It's not difficult to identify them because they're federal employees. So, I mean,
yeah, I know.
You have a roster of people you're paying. within ICE at Department of Homeland Security. That's a public record. So it's not that difficult. Now, if you want to start doxing people and ratcheting up the rhetoric in that way, hoping that you have enough separation from any sort of culpabilities, but, sort of passively, aggressively encouraging noncompliance or even violence, as is the want of the left, well, that's another story, and the public will pass judgment on that. So, I say, the Hakeem Jeffries, it's unfortunate, just like BLM walking down the Michigan Avenue for months on end, chanting "pigs in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon" in the direction of Chicago cops is unfortunate. But then I suppose the civilized among us have to decide what we want to do about that, particularly at the ballot box.
Yep.
Chicago makes its decisions, Illinois makes its decisions, and other places make different decisions. Mike in Union.
In order to blend in, maybe the ICE agents need to double down and show up with a bunch of big black umbrellas, like they did when they were protesting. Maybe they'll like them then. Yeah, why not?
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Have a good day, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Did you see the USA Today? They published an article about the Boulder suspect's daughter, saying she's hugging her dad, and the headline is, "Boulder suspect's daughter dreamed of studying medicine. Now she faces deportation."
But you can't study medicine in Egypt?
Yeah, there's plenty of med schools in Egypt.
Roger, Southside.
I'm not sure if I read this on Max or Getter, but Stephen Miller, I didn't read the whole article up.
Hey, Roger, it's a little hard to hear you. Are you? It sounds like you're being.
I'm on Lower Wacker.
Oh,
yeah,
I see. All right. No, you're okay.
I'm getting ready to do a takeover. We're going to take over Corner Wacker.
You're taking over Lower Wacker? Okay. All right.
Yeah. So they might go to hoods instead of masks.
Yeah, okay.
Would that not offend people more? Good morning. Good morning.
Thanks for the call, Roger.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime adventure. Set sail August 16th through the 23rd on the Patriots Alaska Cruise with me, Larry Elder, Mike Gallagher, plus special guests Jennifer Horn and Joe Piscopo. Experience breathtaking glaciers, fjords, and wildlife, all while diving into critical discussions about America's future with today's top political voices. Cabins are going fast. Text TRAVEL to 94878 right now to secure your spot before it's too late. Travel to 94878 right now to secure your spot before it's too late.
Enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock, all day, every day, including daily replays of Chicago's Morning Answer on Dan and Amy 24/7. Listen now at danandamy247.com.
This is Ed Morrissey for Town Hall. The Free Palestine Globalize the Intifada movement started after the October 7 attacks to promote Hamas's cause, and it immediately took violent forms. For too long, the lack of response from progressive elite prosecutors encouraged even more radical violence aimed at Jews. The lack of immediate and significant consequences created the impunity that produced horrendous attacks over the past few weeks. 2 Israeli embassy workers executed outside a Jewish museum. Pennsylvania's governor got firebombed out of the state's mansion, and now over a dozen Jewish demonstrators have been injured in a firebombing by a Free Palestine terrorist in Boulder. The Trump administration has seen enough. The family members of the alleged perp all had their visas revoked by the State Department. ICE has detained them for expedited deportation. The DOJ has indicted the attacker for hate crimes above and beyond his indictment in Colorado. The only way to combat the terror movement that chants to globalize the Intifada is to globalize the consequences for pursuing it. Let this only be the start.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Robert Anderson, president of McLaughlin Body Company in the Quad Cities, and a customer of Signature Bank. When our 100-year-old family-owned manufacturing company was looking for a new bank, we found an excellent partner with Signature Bank. Signature Bank understands the challenges with manufacturing in today's highly competitive environment. We recently participated in the New Markets Tax Credit Program and were fortunate to have the experts at Signature Bank help us navigate the complexities of this program. With Signature Bank's support, we were able to expand not only our facility, but ultimately our business. If you're looking for a trusted banking partner for your business, look to Chicago's own Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gary Sinise. Please join me and the Lieutenant Dan Band as we return to Cantini Park in Wheaton, Illinois. We will be rocking for our vets on July 12th for the West Suburban Foundation Concert for Charity, saluting our veterans and supporting your veteran community. We're looking forward to seeing everyone again. It's been a long time since we've been at Cantini Park. I'm very much looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to rocking for our vets together.
Get your tickets today at 560theanswer.com/vets. AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy still taking suggestions about who will play KJP in the movie adaptation of her forthcoming book, Independent.
Got a text message. Dan and Amy, excuse me, the comedian Carrot Top will play KJP.
Yeah. He's got the hair for it. The rest of the physical presence doesn't really work. I'm still sticking with Don Lemon. We'll see.
Don Lemon.
Senator John Kennedy. Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana is at his best when he is cross-examining an attorney. He's an attorney. But he's at his best when he's cross-examining another attorney. It could be a law professor who has been whistled before the Senate Judiciary Committee to comment on respecting federal jurists. It could be nominees for the federal bench. In this case, it was the former University of Penn law professor Kate Shaw, who called certain unnamed members of the Supreme Court evil in a podcast. And since she was there to lecture people about how to properly address, conceive, and again offer respect for all federal judges, John Kennedy went after her.
On April 22nd, 2024, you said there are some members of the Supreme Court that are evil.
Will she be able to control its potential future distortion by her evil colleagues? Probably not.
That's her saying it.
Which justices were you talking about?
I'll take it your word, Senator. I don't recall using that word, but...
All right, here's what you said. You were talking about the majority opinion in Muldrow v. City of St. Louis. You said, quote, Justice Kagan, will she be able to control the opinion's future distortion by her evil colleagues? Probably not, end quote. Who were you talking about?
Sir, I'm very skeptical. If it's a transcription, it was probably a transcription error. I do not think I said...
No, you said
transcription error.
Colleagues.
That's good.
Why don't you own up to it? Which you call some of the members of the Supreme Court evil. Now, which ones do you think are evil?
I would have to refresh my recollection. I've been very critical of some members of the Supreme Court.
You made that statement, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
I'm
You're an officer
Senator, it doesn't sound like something that I would say.
You know what I'm embarrassed at? That you're teaching our kids.
I don't refer to Supreme Court justices as evil.
By your evil colleagues.
In the
classroom,
on
sir.
Your podcast, April 22nd, 2024.
Okay, well,
big as Dallas. And you're an officer of the court, and you're here advising us to be respectful to federal judges? And you say they're evil members of the United States Supreme Court? Gag me with a spoon. You're part of what's the problem in all of this.
Didn't know John Kennedy was such a Valley girl.
Yeah.
I think he needs to update his cultural references, but I like the throwback.
Like, oh my God.
More, I like the throwdown.
Yes.
So good.
I love him. All right, coming up
at 6:06,
Chicago's Morning Answer.
6:06, Trump 2.0 issues travel restrictions 2.0. We'll tackle that at 6:06.
And we still have room for our annual golf outing. We're looking for twosomes and foursomes. It's for a good cause, Tunnel to Towers, to become part of our golf tournament, which takes place June 18th at McRae Memorial Golf Club. Please go to 560theanswer.com/golf. Today it is a good day for golf. Morning fog, otherwise warmer, times of cloud, a high of 74 degrees. It is 6 a.m. WIND Chicago.
He's done it again. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump issuing another travel ban with a bigger list of countries than the one from his first term.
Nothing will stop us from keeping America safe.
The White House says those countries are high risk for terrorism, visa abuse, and failure to share security information. So nationals from 12 countries, including Afghanistan, Iran, Somalia, Libya, and Yemen, are banned from coming to the U.S. Individuals from 7 more countries, including Venezuela and Cuba, will all face partial restrictions.
That's Fox's Brooks Sigmund. Many House Democrats have reacted, some calling the ban cruel or racist, discriminatory, and un-American. As President Trump also ramps up illegal immigration raids and deportations, the administration has brought back a Guatemalan man that had been removed after a federal judge ruled he must be returned because his legal rights were violated, not challenging the removal. Now, Fox's Jill Nato on another ruling from another judge.
U.S. District Court Judge James Boasberg says the 137 migrants who were sent to the terrorism confinement center in El Salvador never had a chance to contest their deportations. So he's ordered the Trump administration to work towards allowing them to do that.
Now, the administration's been fighting their return. The president invoked a rare 18th century Alien Enemies Act to deport the alleged gang members. Yet another federal judge has blocked the deportation of Mohammed Solomon's wife and 5 children. He's the suspect in the Boulder, Colorado terror attack. He'll appear in court again today, this time to face state charges, including attempted murder.
Hate, anti-Semitism, terrorism, and violence have no place in Colorado and no place in the United States of America.
Governor Jared Polis at a gathering in Boulder. 15 people were injured when their demonstration supporting the hostages in Gaza was firebombed. Israel has recovered the bodies of 2 more hostages in an operation in Gaza. Both have dual Israeli-American citizenship. Gad Haggai and his wife Yuli were both killed in the October 2023 terror attack. America's listening to Fox.
Good morning. It's 68 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. The parents of a 10-year-old boy are suing Chicago Public Schools following the choking death of their son. Perry Williams has more.
Travis and Lakeisha Jones Townsend say young Cody had an individual education plan due to a special need that required constant supervision. The couple says their child was not properly supervised when he choked on food last October.
No parent should have to send their kid to school and then not see them that next night. I won't want that for any parent.
The lawsuit also names the Chicago School Board and the City of Chicago as defendants.
McDonald's is bringing back the snack wrap next month. The popular menu item featuring chicken, lettuce, cheese, and sauce wrapped in a tortilla will once again be on the menu starting July 10th. The snack wrap was taken off the menu in 2016, and fans have been calling for its return ever since. In a social media post, the person behind the McDonald's account said snack wrap fans are responsible for its return. They said fans' comments and petitions and tweets created a movement so powerful that you finally won. Police are investigating after a DePaul University soccer player was found dead in his dorm room. 20-year-old Chase Stegall was discovered unresponsive while on the Lincoln Park campus. Cook County Medical Examiner's Office says that they have scheduled an autopsy to determine the cause of death. He was a sophomore and played 16 of the soccer team's 17 games. News is a service of Air Ride Heating and Cooling, offering AM 560 listeners $56 off of any service, including inspections. Don't wait for a heat wave for that old air conditioner to break down. Visit Air Ride Heating and Cooling at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
It's almost time for AM 560's annual golf outing, presented by Signature Bank. And once again, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation as they support America's first responder and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. It's all happening on Wednesday, June 18th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. Enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf.
Prescription products require completion of an online consultation with an independent healthcare provider and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Additional restrictions apply. See website for more details and safety information.
Is Cialis Daily really better than Viagra?
If you like spontaneity, the answer is yes. So when the mood strikes, you're ready to go.
I felt like a young man again. My wife is definitely much happier.
When you take it, you're ready to go.
Does Cialis Daily last longer than Viagra?
Guys are raving that their results last even longer.
My partner thinks that I am a rock star.
Because it is effective, I say I'm on a second honeymoon.
It's literally life-changing.
Does RexMD really work?
Over 85% of guys said not only does it work, they saw results the very first night. And you can get your first month free at freerexmd.com with medication delivered direct to your door. There's no copay, no doctor office visit, and your shipping is always free. Visit freerexmd.com to get your first month free. That's FREEREXMD.com.
It's Uncle Sam, and he wants some of your retirement money. Like it or not, you're going to owe taxes on your 401k. The good news is you may be able to reduce your tax bill with some strategic planning. Scott Tucker and the team at Scott Tucker Solutions are here to help. You'll work together to craft a plan that's designed to help make sure you don't pay a penny more than you should. Taxes are historically low right now, and we all know they probably won't remain this low forever, so call Scott Tucker and the Scott Tucker Solutions team before this tax-saving opportunity is gone. 847-474-3888 or go to 560retirement.com. It's time to preserve the retirement you deserve without giving more than necessary to your favorite uncle. Call Scott Tucker and the team at Scott Tucker Solutions now to schedule your 401k tax review. 847-474-3888 or go to 560retirement.com. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Firm does not give tax advice.
From the Team Hogberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 14 minutes. Outbound, about 12 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 13 minutes. Outbound, 23 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 19 minutes. Outbound, 19 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 21 minutes. Outbound is around 15 minutes. Traffic is a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualified today at almostfreeteeth.com, making smiles great again. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
A bit of fog around this morning, otherwise some clouds and sun. A high today, 74. Cloudy for tonight, low 56. Partly sunny day tomorrow, the high 75. Sunny to partly cloudy, terrific day on Saturday. High Saturday, 73. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. A measure has been advanced that may deny some asylum seekers a refugee hearing and make it easier for the government to revoke migrant status. You hear this? a measure to deny some asylum seekers a refugee hearing and make it easier for the government to revoke migrants' status. That measure has been advanced in Ottawa by Mark Carney's government. Oh, you probably thought we were talking about the Trump administration.
Yeah, I actually did, Dan.
Welcome to the neo-Marxist administration in Canada, who still very much like the neo-Marxist Labour Party in the UK, who are finding it impossible to deny reality and to not at least make some baby steps in the direction of common sense when it comes to border security. Canada and the UK, but not the neo-Marxist party in this country. Remarkable. That against the backdrop of the announcement that Trump made yesterday. So just a little bit of context for consideration. As you know, we are going to begin to hear this is un-American and this isn't who we are. And these aren't our values, and so on and so forth.
They aren't our enemies.
Because we have travel restrictions 2.0 that Trump rolled out yesterday.
The recent terror attack in Boulder, Colorado, has underscored the extreme dangers posed to our country by the entry of foreign nationals who are not properly vetted, as well as those who come here as temporary visitors and overstay their visas. We don't want them. In the 21st century, we've seen one terror attack after another carried out by foreign visa overstayers from dangerous places all over the world. And thanks to Biden's open door policies, today there are millions and millions of these illegals who should not be in our country. In my first term, my powerful travel restrictions were one of our most successful policies, and they were a key part of preventing major foreign terror attacks on American soil. We will not let what happened in Europe happen to America. That's why on my first day back in office, I directed the Secretary of State to perform a security review of high-risk regions and make recommendations for where restrictions should be imposed. Among the national security threats their analysis considered are the large-scale presence of terrorists, failure to cooperate on visa security, inability to verify travelers' identities, inadequate record-keeping of criminal histories, and persistently high rates of illegal visa overstays, and other things. Very simply, we cannot have open migration from any country where we cannot safely and reliably vet and screen those who seek to enter the United States. That is why today I am signing a new executive order placing travel restrictions on countries including Yemen, Somalia, Haiti, Libya, and numerous others. The strength of the restrictions we're applying depends on the severity of the threat posed. The list is subject to revision based on whether material improvements are made, and likewise, new countries can be added as threats emerge around the world. But we will not allow people to enter our country who wish to do us harm, and nothing will stop us from keeping America safe. Thank you very much.
There's a full travel ban on a dozen countries and a partial restrictions on another 7 countries. And, if you have these sentimental barbarians in your circles of life, you may remind them as they engage in their dutiful hysterics over this, that this 2.0 had a 1.0, and the travel restrictions that were imposed by Trump in his first term were upheld by the Supreme Court in a 5-4 decision. You can look it up. U.S. versus Hawaii. The full travel ban for a dozen countries: Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, Congo, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, Equatorial Guinea, partial Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Turkmenistan, Venezuela, Togo. And when he talks about national security, as if the Boulder domestic terrorist incident wasn't enough of a case. Bill Maluzhin reporting that ICE yesterday announced they've arrested a Tajikistan-born suspected al-Qaeda member previously released into the United States by the Biden administration in March of 2023. How many times have we made that statement? He entered the country in San Diego sector, was paroled in the U.S. despite being charged as an admissible alien. ICE found and arrested him in Philadelphia. Tajikistan authorities declared him a fugitive, suspected member of al-Qaeda. And so the Biden administration may or may not known of his background, but to what you just heard Trump say, the improper vetting, the default position, even of the previous administration, even somebody deemed inadmissible, but it was nonetheless parole to stay here pending court dates, years in the offing, and so forth. We know the game that they've been running. Tom Homan has spoken to it quite eloquently. So this is a step that Trump has taken before, but considering what transpired in the Trump interregnum, those would be the Biden years, seems like a sensible play to me. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
Remember the first travel ban was called the Muslim ban?
Yeah.
What do you think the Dems are going to name this one?
Well, they'll just, I don't know if they'll come up with a identitarian moniker, or they'll just, go into their not our values, un-American, dangerous, reckless, this isn't who we are, blah, 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 blah.
So people that have dual...
But something else, too, that Trump said there, don't miss this. Because there's always an opportunity with Trump, even when he draws a line in the sand. But these countries can prove up.
Right.
They can choose...
Get your house in order.
They can choose to be cooperative with national security and domestic police agencies in this country. They can choose to accept people in this country illegally from their country that we deport after an administrative determination, rather than, take the Nicolas Maduro approach, at least during the Biden administration, of we're not taking back the Tren de Aragua bangers that we sent there. You want to cooperate? You want to make it easy? You want to help us with information sharing when we're processing, for example, an asylum application? You want to play ball with America and operate on the level? Well, then we can talk. If you don't, then we can't. Simple as that.
If you're a green card holder and you have a pathway to citizenship, you're exempt from the ban. Dual citizens, people who are American citizens but also hold citizenship with the banned countries, are exempt from the order. And certain athletes, coaches traveling to the United States to play. And, we have the Olympics coming up. We have the World Cup. I know you're looking really forward to that. So athletes and coaches, they can come. So I just think this is more to send. Well, he's doing what we put him in office to do, and that's put America first and protect us from madmen and crazy monsters like the Boulder.
It's too bad that John Cass soccer hut they're building for the fire on 78 property on the river won't be ready for the World Cup. Mm-hmm.
It's going to save us, according to Mayor Johnson.
Something else, too, about this, because we've had a lot of action on immigration in the courts, of course. That informs this travel ban on those countries, the restrictions on the other countries that I mentioned, is because you're dealing with federal judges, and we're waiting for the Supreme Court to weigh in here in terms of the idea that you can have 600 some odd federal judges with national power to enjoin the actions of a president. But for now, we have this dynamic. And like yesterday, a judge and a Biden appointee in Colorado who enjoined the Trump administration from moving to deport the family of the Boulder, Colorado terrorist attacker. I mean, that's the kind of stuff where you say, okay, well, if that's the way that you're going to play it, then we have to be much more aggressive in a prophylactic direction. Because, while we continue to be aggressive in trying to remediate all the damage that was done that is known, and the damage that hasn't manifested itself yet, but is ever present, the danger lurks because of the Biden open border policies.
And they've upgraded the injured list now to 15 and also a dog. But while he was driving to that attack, he videotaped himself and put it on a Hamas channel and declaring that jihad is more important to him than his family, than America. He hates America. And so I'm sorry, your choices have consequences and your family should be deported. And this sickens me. And then the U.S. Today article that I said that, they're drooling over the terrorist family instead of profiling any of the victims from this terrorist firebomb. It's just so the mainstream media. I don't know why they do this. Has anybody heard of anything of who survived?
You don't know why they do this.
Have anybody seen any pictures of any of the victims or heard from their family members?
Something about that Boulder attack that was curious to me is the video of him after he threw a Molotov cocktail and lit some people on fire. Then he's got another Molotov cocktail in his hand, and he's roaming around, and he's, fomenting. It was sort of feverishly free Palestine and whatever gibberish he was saying. Shirtless and so forth. What? Nobody tried to take this guy down. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who was present there, and I don't. I mean, physically or with a firearm. I don't know what the landscape was, but it's just, boy, when you commit that kind of violent attack that draws attention, there was nobody there to intercede.
I heard from one witness, in watching all these different cable stations, who said they were trying to keep him in the area waiting for police to arrive, but they were afraid to approach him because they thought he'd throw a firebomb at them. And he had his shirt off because when he was throwing one of the firebombs, he caught part of his shirt on fire and burned the side of his head.
But that doesn't answer my question.
Yeah, no, I don't know why somebody didn't gun him down. Good Lord.
There is an eyewitness account of that attack that was offered to the Free Press. I heard a glass break. Then the first thing I felt was the heat. It came out of nowhere. Then I looked to my left, and the older woman near me was on fire.
Oh, God.
She crumpled to the ground, the flames following her. This all happened in no more than 2 or 3 seconds. The next few minutes, it couldn't have been more than 1 or 2, felt like an eternity.
Oh.
My world completely narrowed, rendering me oblivious to my surroundings, to the shirtless man not more than 15 feet away who was yelling Free Palestine at us, and who had another firebomb in his hand. It never dawned on me that I might be in danger too until later that day when I watched a video of the scene that showed me with my back turned to the man, completely unaware of his presence. Run away, I told myself through the screen watching the video, but in that moment I didn't. I couldn't. I mean, so there's that aspect of it too. It's so disorienting. Right. It's so inconceivable that and it happens so fast, you don't even realize what's happening. I understand that.
My point of contention is he tried to get a firearm last November, and they said no because he's here illegally. They should have picked him up then. Then he tried to get a concealed carry a month later in December.
This eyewitness account.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting.
I looked for anything I could find. A few Israeli or American flags strewn on the ground. No, they were too thin, so I grabbed the banner, the one we march behind every Sunday, which read, "Let them go now," the hostages. I was concerned that it could be made of a synthetic material. What if it lights on fire? Would it create a fireball? I feared, but there was no time and nothing else in sight I could possibly use, so 2 others and I laid the banner on top of the agonized woman, trying to put out the flames all over her body. Once the flames went out, one of my friends who had medical training began tending to the older woman and her wounds. By this point, her clothes were tattered. I noticed burns across her body. My attention then turned to her husband, an older man standing beside her when the fire erupted. His leg was badly burned, and he watched as his wife lay on the ground in utter pain. Oh. He screamed. I can't remember what he said, but he was distraught beyond distraught. When the first responders finally arrived, I watched him get loaded into an ambulance. Eventually, I learned he was taken by helicopter to a local hospital. So, I mean, just to put not too fine a point on it, and yes, I mean, unless there is evidence to the contrary, his family is not responsible for what he did, not legally, but it doesn't mean that they have any legitimate right to be in this country.
They overstayed their visas. Sorry.
When they are here illegally.
Yeah.
It's just a very simple proposition.
Sorry, she's hopes of becoming a doctor. Habina Solomon wanted to be a doctor. Then her father firebombed Jewish marchers in Boulder.
Yeah, I get it. Right. So it's that's the DC press corps. It's always about the hopes and dreams of people, that are part of their coalition. I mean, that's why do they do that? Because these are the people that are interested in serving. These are the people that are interested in keeping in America, American citizens, the hopes and dreams of people who are killed by people here illegally. No, they're not so interested in those. Yeah, I mean, that's who they are. I don't know how many. It's like it's not the same in terms of scale, but it's like this guy. When you throw Molotov cocktails at people and you yell "Free Palestine" and you say you hate America, that's who he is.
He's pledging allegiance to jihad.
And when the press covers these stories like they do, that's who they are. And so, this is where we are. And Trump is taking action in furtherance of our national security, even as his lawyers, the Department of Justice, and so forth, have to deal with federal judges that say you can't move to remove people in this country illegally. This is not a particularly complicated issue of law, but it is also the problem of politicians in robes, and that's who some of these federal judges are too.
Well, the Boulder, Colorado attack proves we needed ICE agents now more than ever. And there was also a guy visiting from Israel, but believe it or not, who was there to, go rock climbing, and he just happened to be there. And he said he was running back and forth, trying to grab as much water from passerbys, from people, to try and put out the blaze on the 88-year-old woman, a Holocaust survivor. And he said that took several minutes.
George in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, Dan, I guess we'll start seeing the signs in the leafy suburbs. I stand with the 12 travel banned countries.
Yeah, very good. Yes, exactly. Thanks for the call, George.
Or who's going to turn this guy into like a Luigi?
Well, we know we can get as many Somali flags as we need from Ilhan Omar up in Minneapolis, but probably if you have some leftist friends, you better tell them that they should start ordering their flags from Burundi the other travel ban countries, so that they can hang them outside their homes. These wonderful countries that are bastions of democracy. And you know how we know they're bastions of democracy? Because they're standing up against Trump. And that's the standard for the left. You're a freedom fighter. You're a bastion of democracy. You're a put upon country that has to suffer under the weight of this bully in Washington, this bully in the Oval Office. You're the heroes. All of the leadership of these corrupt, developing world warlordocracies.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Your business is under attack 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a fact. Small businesses are the low-hanging fruit. You may think you're protected, but you're vulnerable in many ways, and cyber attackers actively prey on small businesses. But Turnkey can protect you. Turnkey is the key to cyber protection. Turnkey has a quick and efficient 12-point evaluation to determine if your business, your profits, are at risk. And right now, for a limited time, Turnkey is offering the first month of service to all new customers free. Peace of mind, free. It includes all Microsoft licensing, antivirus, anti-malware, and completed data backup both on-site and off-site, plus help desk support. Don't leave you, your employees, and your customers vulnerable. Talk to Turnkey. Visit turnkey.pro. 3 decades of experience. That's turnkey.pro. Turnkey, the champion of small business.
Attention American homeowners, you're under attack. Your home and equity could be vulnerable to cyber thieves. There's only one company that completely stops them, and that company is Equity Protect. Equity Protect prevents any attempts to steal your home, equity, and ownership 24/7. Get your free risk report today by texting the word HOME to 94878. That's right, text the word HOME to 94878 to get your free risk report. Keep your equity and legacy safe with Equity Protect.
Spring, a time to get outside, be active, play with the grandkids, enjoy life. But if high blood pressure is holding you back, the sooner you get control of it, the sooner you'll stop being a walking time bomb. High blood pressure is a serious issue. Your blood vessels are constricted, your mortality risk is high. So what can you do besides take medications with side effects? Well, there's a delicious juice that can help bring your numbers back down. It's called 120 Life, and it has natural ingredients that have shown to lower blood pressure. Yes, a superfood juice is showing amazing results for high blood pressure without the side effects of big pharma medication. Try 120 Life risk-free now with a 2-week trial pack. Go to 120life.com and use coupon code 560 to save 15% and get free shipping. They're so sure it can lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks, they'll give your money back if you're not satisfied. Order now. That's 120life.com. Use coupon code 560 at checkout for 15% off.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Bob Chivato, owner of Go Exceed and a customer of Signature Bank. By leveraging AI and machine learning, we provide data management solutions for corporations to save time and money managing their cellular devices. While we rely on machines to help us run our business, we believe personal relationships are essential. This is why we chose Signature Bank. Having a banking partner who understands our background, our business, and our priorities is fundamental to our success. Any bank can provide basic services, but having a bank that you can trust, one that looks out for you and treats your business like its own, that's irreplaceable.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The
Answer. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to our friend from the Tunnel to Towers Foundation at 6:36.
And how you can be a part of our annual golf outing. We'll give you all the details. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 56 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. One of former President Biden's press secretaries is parting ways with the Democratic Party in order to become an independent.
Karine Jean-Pierre's decision was confirmed in a press release for an upcoming book about her time working in the White House. She also released a social media video.
I think we need to stop thinking in boxes and think outside of our boxes and not be so partisan.
Independent, a look inside a broken White House outside the party lines, is set to be released this fall. Jean-Pierre will take readers through Biden's abandoning his bid for a second term and what she says was a betrayal by the Democratic Party that led to his decision. I'm Michael Kastner.
President Trump is banning travelers from a dozen countries, citing security risks. The proclamation signed Wednesday evening fully restricts and limits the entry of nationals from 12 countries. The list includes Afghanistan, Iran, Haiti, Somalia, and Sudan. People from 7 countries will have partial restrictions, including Cuba and Venezuela. Trump reportedly was back and forth on the decision, with Sunday's anti-Semitic attack in Boulder, Colorado, putting things into motion quicker. News is a service of Fox Valley Coins. No waiting, no problems, no charge for in-store verbal appraisals. Bring your gold or silver in today. FoxValleyCoins.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
This week on Capitol Hill is the best way to get informed on everything going on with Congress. Hosted by Tony Perkins and the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
I'm a student of what the founders originally intended for how the process was supposed to work. The United States Congress is the greatest deliberative body in the history of the world, but only if it's done as designed.
Stay informed and become a regular listener. This week on Capitol Hill, Sundays at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
People ask us all the time, when's the best time to replace an old air conditioner? Simple. Before it breaks. Because when it does, you know it'll be the hottest day of the year, and suddenly you're scrambling like hundreds of others to get help during a heat wave. At Air Right Heating and Cooling, we've seen it all. We know there's never a good time to be without AC, especially in Chicagoland, where the humidity can make 80 degrees feel like 100. At Air Right, our experienced technicians don't just work fast, they'll do it right. Browse through our more than 1,500 5-star Google reviews to see what our loyal customers love most about us. If it's been a while since your system was inspected, don't wait for a heat wave before having it checked out. And right now, AM 560 listeners receive $56 off any service. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right, doing it right since 1959.
Does your garage floor look bad, cracked, or stained from Chicago's brutal winters? Contact my good friends at Level 10 Coatings. Level 10 brought my garage floor from dirty, gross, to showroom shiny new in just one day. Level 10 Coatings can do the same for you. A quick and easy fix, gleaming permanent solution. Guaranteed to never crack or chip. Mention me, Amy, for $500 off. Get it done now so you can enjoy your garage all summer long. Level 10 uses polyurea, which is superior to epoxy. One day and they're gone. They'll even help move your stuff out of your garage. Schedule your free quote today and mention Amy to receive $500 off. Just visit level10coatings.com. Level10coatings.com or call 855-510-2628. Again, that's 855-510-2628. Level 10 Coatings, your premier concrete coating experts.
Big or small, we coat them all. Level 10 Coatings, your custom concrete coating solution.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 16 minutes, 14 minutes outbound. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Vernon Interchange, 17 minutes, outbound about 25 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 22 minutes, outbound about 18 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 37 minutes, outbound about 17 minutes. On the Dan Ryan inbound from 95th to the Burn Interchange, about 19 minutes. This report is sponsored by Dairy Queen. Hurry into DQ for their sauced and tossed chicken strip baskets. With flavor from top, bottom, and everywhere in between. Try them today in Honey Barbecue or New Buffalo. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good. Only at participating Dairy Queen locations. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Areas of morning fog, otherwise warmer today. Some clouds and sun. A high today 74. Cloudy tonight with a low of 56. And then tomorrow partly sunny with a high 75. Sunny to partly cloudy. Nice day on Saturday, the high 73. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Real Story with Jeannie Ives, powered by Breakthrough Ideas, Sunday evening at 7 on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So we've got our golf outing coming up, a week from Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
June 18th.
June 18th at the McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. To sign up, a foursome, twosome, even a single, go to 560theanswer.com/golf. And by the way, we're going to have prizes. Longest drive closest to the pin. You win that every year, don't you?
Signing up as a single is kind of sad.
Why? I've done it.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. But
it's a great way to meet people.
You can bolt on to our fivesome if you're a single.
Oh, okay.
You don't want people playing alone, for goodness sake.
And we want to, if you own a company or make the marketing decisions for your company, if you purchase a foursome, we're going to give you an AM 560 marketing package, which includes 25 one-minute commercials that will air right here on AM 560. So it's a win-win because the proceeds of our tournament, which is sponsored by Signature Bank, go to Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
Right. And so, of course, Tunnel to Towers serves 9/11 families, 9/11 impacted families. And they've been doing that, basically since not long after 9/11. And so people may say, well, I mean, we're 24 years removed from 9/11, so what could the need still be? I'm glad you asked, and that's why I'm glad we have Jack Ohm on, retired battalion commander for the New York City Fire Department and member of the board of Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Jack, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. How are you?
Good. So tell us what Tunnels to Towers is doing. I think a lot of people know about the foundation. A lot of people know about the good work that's been done over time, but why it's still relevant, why and what work there still is to do that you guys are doing on a daily basis.
Yeah, so I'm glad you have us on, and we thank you for your support. So our foundation, we pay off mortgages for fallen first responders. So if you're a police officer, firefighter, EMS worker anywhere in this country, and you die in the line of duty with young children, our foundation is going to come in and pay off your mortgage so that your family can stay in your forever home that you made with your wife or your husband. So these families don't have to, not only did they lose their spouse and their mother or their father, and now they have to move because they can't make the mortgage payments. We come in and we take that burden off the table for that family so they could stay in that home forever.
So
we also pay off.
Just to put a fine point on it, and then I'll let you continue. It's just so it started with 9/11 families, and now it's expanded nationally to first responders. That's sort of something that's important for people to understand.
Correct, and we also built smart homes for our catastrophically injured servicemen and women coming home from the wars with no arms, no legs. That's still a process. We built about 200 of these smart homes all across the country, and we have probably 100, 150 more homes to build for our injured servicemen and women. We also started a new program in January of 2022 to house homeless veterans. So there's 40,000 homeless veterans in this country, and that's disgraceful, but our foundation is doing something about it.
Well, I'm glad you're doing something because the government isn't. They're helping illegals first because we have the shelter on here in Chicago on the north side at Irving Park Road and Lakeshore Drive. And across from that are 4 or 5 homeless veterans who refuse to be sheltered. But it's just a strange dichotomy because they're living in filth because when it rains, it's muddy. It's a muddy mess. And then our government is helping people across the street with shelter, food, cell phones. I mean, they have everything. And then these people who fought for our country have nothing.
Yeah, so that's so true, Amy. But what our foundation's doing, we're not putting them into a shelter.
Yeah.
We're renovating hotels all around the country. On the first floor, we're putting in all the supportive services that these guys need and these guys deserve. Mental health counseling, drug addiction counseling, alcohol abuse counseling, job training, job placement. On the second and third floor, we're renovating those hotel rooms, making them apartment efficiencies, which that means they're going to have a sitting area, they're going to have a bedroom area, and they're going to have a kitchen area. So it's not a shelter type situation. They have all their services down on the first floor, and we wanted them to get back into society as productive members of society like they used to be. And that's our goal.
And then, just on the families of the fallen, too, just to point this out, last year, the stats, 147 federal, state, county, municipal officers died in the line of duty. 147. That was a 25% increase, actually, over 2023. And so this is part of that rolling need that Tunnel to Towers serves.
Yes, and the need is always going to be there. Our police officers, our firefighters, our EMS workers, day in and day out, go into harm's way to keep their communities safe. And unfortunately, with the political atmosphere lately, the cops, the police officers are targets. So we see that in New York City. I think assaults on New York City police officers are up 600% in the last five years. It's ridiculous. Our politicians should take a stand, just like anti-Semitism. They should take a stand and say it's wrong. It's wrong for anybody to be attacked. And we're here to back our police officers, our military, and our firefighters and our first responders.
Got a text message into the show. Dan and Amy, who founded Tunnel to Towers and how did it get its name?
Right. So a great question. It was started by the Siller family, Siller, to honor and remember those 2,977 Americans that were murdered the morning of 9/11. Their brother, Stephen, was an off-duty New York City firefighter that ran through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel with 60 pounds of fire gear on his back, out of the tunnel up West Street, and he joined in the rescue efforts in the World Trade Center towers that morning. Stephen Siller sacrificed his life saving others that morning. So his three brothers and his three sisters, to honor him, and like I said, the 2,977 other Americans that died, they started this great foundation to honor and remember those people.
Can you give us some color in the 9/11 families that sort of where they are 24 years removed now from that horrific day? What they think about
Sure.
What America thinks about the sacrifices that you're describing, with some time in between now, so much time in between now.
So I was an off-duty battalion chief myself. All my units responded from Brooklyn, New York, and I lost 3 out of 8 units never came back home. So I lost 20 of my men that day. I still, to this day, take one of my widows down to the site on 9/11 every year, and that's my honor to do that. And as long as I'm alive and able, I will do that for her. And that's the commitment we make as a fire department family, New York City Fire Department family, and that's the commitment that our foundation makes to our first responders and our military. It's 24 years. Some of these widows, a lot of these widows had young kids when their husbands died that morning, and it's a beautiful thing to see these kids now. Some of them becoming New York City firefighters, some of them being married. I'm invited to my widow's, daughter's wedding in a few months. Be my honor to be at that wedding. And you make that commitment, and it's a long-term commitment. And I would say most of our widows have moved on. They never forget, obviously. You can never replace their husband that they lost. But, 24 years, time does, like they say, heals a lot. It doesn't ever go away, but it does heal.
And how can people donate if they can't attend our golf outing? Because that's a good way. If you want to attend the golf outing, by the way, go to 560theanswer.com/golf. But not everybody's a golfer, Jack. So how can people help?
Right. Yeah, we simply ask every American to donate $11 a month. If you can't do $11, do $5. Whatever you can donate, simple, go to T2T.org, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org. Tunnel2towers.org works also. So it's a very simple, you hit the donate button and you can become a monthly donor or you can do a one-time donation.
Jack Ohm, retired battalion commander for the New York City Fire Department, member of the board of Tunnel to Towers Foundation, T2T.org. And if you want to join us at the golf outing, it's
560theanswer.com/golf.
Jack Ohm, thanks so much for joining us again, Jack. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, folks. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
If you're living with pain, see how Relief Factor can help.
My back got injured very bad. I was off work for about a year. I heard about Relief Factor from my wife. I took it every day, 3 times a day for 3 weeks. Look at her and I said, the pain is gone. And she said, I'm glad it helped. I said, no, you don't understand. It's gone.
Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. Go to relieffactor.com and get your 3-week quick start today. Only $19.95.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the mountains or go pick up your dry cleaning? RV wins! Are we cleaning the gutters or taking the RV camping? RV wins! Are we getting a new passport or cruising up the coast? RV wins!
Don't forget, you got that trip to Sweden coming up.
Oh, yeah, passport, then RV.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states and situations.
Text messages are still coming in about KJP because she wrote the book Independent because she's now separating herself from the Democratic Party, and that we thought she would make it into a movie. Who's going to play her? Somebody just texted in, Dan and Amy, Wanda Sykes.
It's not bad. That's not bad. I think I've got a better one, though.
All right.
And even better than my initial suggestion of Don Lemon. Eddie Steeples.
Eddie Steeples.
People may not know him by name. You remember the sitcom My Name is Earl?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that guy.
He played
Earl with the high pants and the guy that played Earl, or who?
No, the guy that played Darnell.
Oh, okay.
Who Jamie Presley was married to, Earl's ex. Do you remember Jason Lee as My Name is Earl? But look up Eddie Steeples.
Okay. I was going to say you're digging deep on this.
Eddie Steeples, My Name is Earl, and tell me if he couldn't play KJP.
Okay, hold on. I have a live read to do.
Well, you can do
Can I do my live read?
Yeah, you can. The show can continue, and you can come back to it if you'd like. Yeah.
All right. Is your business using Windows 10? Well, very soon, updates for your system will no longer be available. Yes, the clock is ticking on Windows 10. Microsoft will no longer provide free updates, technical support, and security fixes for Windows 10 and previous versions. So take action before your business is impacted. Turnkey is offering a free Windows readiness check. This assessment will analyze your network's needs and prepare your business for Windows 11. Don't wait. If you're not ready, your system is vulnerable and could be hacked. All your data could be lost. Can your business afford that? That sounds awful. So visit turnkey.pro to sign up for your free assessment. Turnkey can help prepare for the transition, ensuring a seamless move from Windows 10 to Windows 11. Ask about the free Windows readiness check today. Visit turnkey.pro before there's no support for Windows 10. That's turnkey.pro, turnkey.pro, Turnkey, your small business champions.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $257. There are only 2 good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part? My guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about. as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for. For this free information, call 800-422-1609. 800-422-1609. 800-422-1609. Or simply visit godra.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
You know,
it's ridiculous.
Maybe Malia Ann, maybe that could be her breakout role. Malia Ann playing KJP in the movie adaptation of Independent.
That's right, because Michelle Obama, gorgeous, stunning, hot. She revealed on a podcast with Oliver and Kate Hudson. They have a sibling revelry podcast. Who doesn't have a podcast now? Michelle Obama was on that podcast yesterday and addressed Malia's decision to ditch the last name of Obama. So now her name.
Because she wants to make it on her own.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so mom and dad have a $50 million deal with Netflix. Maybe she'll be able to make her way into whatever is in queue for mom and dad. Or if she wants to really, do this on her own, then maybe she can collaborate with KJP and, bone up on her method acting, spend some time with KJP in preparation for Independent, the film.
Yeah, that would be, you know what? That's a really good idea.
Yeah. By the way,
the girls are 25 and 23 already, young adults.
They grow up so fast.
No, they do.
I'll tell you what, Kate and Oliver Hudson, people may not know Oliver Hudson. Maybe you'd recognize him, though. He's actually a pretty good comedic actor.
Uh-huh.
You remember what he was in?
I know he was in Nashville. He's done a lot of TV sitcoms.
Oh, I didn't do Nashville.
Yeah, no, he was good though. He's a solid actor. And I like Kate Hudson too.
You know what he was kind of funny in, and it was a pretty good ensemble cast, except for the chick who played Patrick Warburton's wife. Rules of Engagement with David Spade. David Spade, Patrick Warburton.
I have heard of it, but I did not see it. I'm sorry.
You never heard that? It was a show.
I know it was a show, but I did not see it.
Oh. All right.
But why does Michelle Obama make all these pronouncements on other people's podcasts? She should make it on her podcast with her brother.
She's
called IMO Podcast, co-host Craig Robinson.
Yeah, I'm familiar with his work.
Uh-huh.
Another possibility is Jasmine Crockett.
Oh.
I don't think she can really be bounded by just being a lowly member of the House of Representatives. She's destined for stardom. And the other thing too is, she has. I think she'd get Michelle Obama's stamp of approval. Maybe Malia Ann would even step aside because she really is the next gen race hustler.
Oh, yeah.
Next gen race hustler.
Liar.
Race hustling impresario. She was on a podcast too. I don't know who this person is.
Who
was.
I don't have a podcast. Do I need to get a podcast? Maybe I could podcast from my car while I'm stuck in traffic.
All right, quickly before we get to Jasmine Crockett's latest offering, this is a good one. Joey in Door County.
Yeah, I wanted to suggest a name change for Malia. She could go by Rezko.
And her new dad is Tony.
Thanks for the call, Jim. Least she could do, and thankful and thanks for that sweetheart real estate deal. Very good, nice pull, Tony.
Oh, that's right.
Door County, lovely this time of year. If you get up to Door County,
yeah, where do we need to go?
Friends have the best fish boil up there. I'm told. I'm not a fish boil guy. The post, I think it's called the post office.
Okay.
Yeah, Door County. Jasmine Crockett on this podcast, the deal, but she just does it with such verve and flair. I think she is destined for the big screen. So 2025 is very much like 1950, is very much like 1850. And the Republican Party is full of Simon Legrees.
Not allowing us to learn together, not allowing us to eat in the same places or drink out of the same facilities. When I think about those things, I think about the fact that they justified it, number one, through the Bible.
Yeah.
And then I think about the fact that they also had this justification as if we were different, as if we didn't all bleed the same and we weren't the same. And so as the attacks seem new, they really are tired and old, and we've been through them before, and I can recognize the hate, no matter if we're talking about in the 50s or if we're talking about in 2025. And so with me, I know that we've persevered past them. We have still been able to accomplish so much despite them. And I truly believe that as we walk into this next season, this losing season for the haters, I think that we will again be able to transgress and show that, like, we are great, we are normal, we are actually, if anything, we got superpowers as far as I'm concerned. So it is easier, in my opinion, to do what's right every single day that I go in and serve and do right for everyone, because at the end of the day, I know that there was a time and a place, and if they could, they would throw me back in chains.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Somehow, those that came before us managed to break loose of the physical chains, even though we still have a bunch of systemic chains that we are still kind of wrangling with.
Yeah, she doesn't know what the word transgress means, but the rest of it is, updated. Fresh coat of paint on that. Going to put you all back in chains from Joe Biden back when he was even more of a dynamo than he was as president. So I just throw Jasmine Crockett into the mix as a possibility for the KJP movie.
And the KJP movie, text message, Kim Fields, Tootie from Facts of Life.
Too attractive.
It's 7 a.m., WIND, Chicago.
Israel gets 2 more hostages back, but it's not a rescue. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It was a recovery mission in Gaza for the 2 who were Israeli-American dual citizens.
New York-born Yudi Weinstein Haggai and her husband Gad Haggai, both in their early 70s, were killed in the attack by Hamas of October 7th, 2023. Their bodies were taken to Gaza. But according to the Israeli military, a special operations recovered their remains in Khan Yunis in the south of the Strip.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Hamas still holds 56 hostages, only about a third of them believed to be alive. The man accused of attacking Jewish demonstrators supporting the hostages Sunday in Boulder, Colorado, injuring 15 of them, will appear in state court today. Fox's Kristen Goodwin reports.
Mohammed Solomon faces 16 counts of attempted murder in the first degree and 16 counts of attempted use of an incendiary device. Federal officials who charged him with a hate crime say he planned the attack for a year, noting his wife and 5 children are in custody as they investigate whether they knew about the attack.
A federal judge has blocked the deportations of Solomon's family. Another federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to allow more than 100 alleged gang members deported to El Salvador in March under the Alien Enemies Act to contest their removal. President Trump's issued a new travel ban to keep out
foreign nationals who are not properly vetted, as well as those who come here as temporary visitors and overstay their visas. We don't want them.
His order bans travel from 12 countries, including Afghanistan, Iran, Haiti, and Yemen. Restricts travel from 7 more, Cuba and Venezuela among them. Democrats are calling it cruel and discriminatory. President Trump has also ordered the use of the auto pen during the Biden presidency in an investigation into his mental decline.
Biden responded to those allegations in a new statement saying he knew what he was doing. Quote, "Let me be clear. I made the decisions during my presidency. I made the decisions about the pardons, executive orders, legislation, and proclamations."
As Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 57 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Tensions are high between immigration advocates and federal immigration agents in Chicago. Alderperson Jesse Fuentes spoke yesterday after protesters clashed with ICE agents yesterday after they detained illegals outside of a U.S. Customs and Immigration Enforcement office in the South Loop.
They robbed families of their mothers. They robbed families of their siblings. They robbed families of their fathers.
Demonstrators were first alerted about ICE activity after a member of the Organized Communities Against Deportations was detained after being asked to show up for a check-in with immigration. Some city officials claim 10 people were taken into custody. Today is Air Pollution Action Day in the Chicago area. The Illinois EPA issued the action day due to elevated particle pollution. That includes Cook, DuPage, Kane, Kendall, Grundy, Lake, McHenry, and Will counties. Regional air quality will be unhealthy for sensitive groups category because of the Canadian wildfires in the region. The Canadian wildfire smoke at the surface is expected to be throughout much of the state, with the highest concentration in the northern third of the state. One man is dead following a motorcycle crash in Waukegan. Police say that Dustin Humphrey was riding a motorcycle Tuesday night when he crashed near Route 120 and Greenleaf Street. He was ejected from the bike and pronounced dead at the hospital. The accident is under investigation. This news update is a service of Quick Delivery Service. When you need same-day delivery, when you need the fastest service, when you need last-minute delivery, go to quickdelivery.com and get a quote right now. That's quickdelivery.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
It's almost time for AM 560's annual golf outing, presented by Signature Bank. And once again, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation as they support America's first responder and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. It's all happening on Wednesday, June 18th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. Enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf.
Prescription products require completion of an online consultation with an independent healthcare provider and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Additional restrictions apply. See website for more details and safety information.
Is Cialis Daily really better than Viagra?
If you like spontaneity, the answer is yes. So when the mood strikes, you're ready to go.
I felt like a young man again. My wife is definitely much happier.
When you take it, you're ready to go.
Does Cialis Daily last longer than Viagra?
Guys are raving that their results last even longer.
My partner thinks that I am a rock star.
Because it is effective, I say I'm on a second honeymoon.
It's literally life-changing.
Does RexMD really work?
Over 85% of guys said not only does it work, they saw results the very first night. And you can get your first month free at freerexmd.com with medication delivered direct to your door. There's no copay, no doctor office visit, and your shipping is always free. Visit freerexmd.com to get your first month free. That's FREEREXMD.com.
It's almost time once again for the annual AM 560 golf outing, presented by Signature Bank. And this year, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation to help them support America's first responder and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. This year, our golf outing is happening on Wednesday, June 18th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. When you purchase a foursome to join us, you'll enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. And if you're a business owner, when you purchase a foursome, you'll also receive an AM 560 marketing campaign, which includes 25 one-minute commercials to air on AM 560 Monday through Friday between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m., and a free digital marketing analysis. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Quick Delivery Service and by State Farm Insurance Agent Anthony DeGrotto.
From the Team Hawkberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 16 minutes, 14 minutes outbound. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 28 minutes. On the outbound side, 61 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 27 minutes. Outbound, about 21 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 41 minutes. Outbound is about 30 minutes. Traffic is a service of Turnkey. Turnkey is the key to cyber protection. For a limited time, Turnkey is offering all new customers their first month of service free, including Microsoft licensing, antivirus, anti-malware, data backup, plus 24/7 help desk support. Visit turnkey.pro today. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
A bit of fog around this morning, otherwise some clouds and sun. A high today, 74. Cloudy for tonight, low 56. Partly sunny day tomorrow, the high 75. Sunny to partly cloudy, terrific day on Saturday. High Saturday, 73. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. It is LGBTQIA2S++++++++++ Pride Month. 30 of approximately 170 days on the calendar year where we recognize the LGBTQ2SIA++++++++++++++ identitarians. So it seems like a perfect time to ask the question, if you're not gay, would you at least consider it?
312-642-5600. Turnkey.pro answer line. Or you could text us on that same line. I mean, is there something you want to say, Dan?
How about giving it a try? How about not being closed-minded? How about being inclusive? How about being diverse? How about giving it a shot? It's never too late. Just ask Meredith Baxter Burney.
Oh, right.
Just ask Kelly McGillis.
Oh, that's right.
Never too late.
And there's some men, too, who come out after having families and wives for decades, have come out and say, honey, I'm home and I'm gay. Hello.
This is not me asking it. I'm not an educator. But Robert Feldman is. He's a senior research associate at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, in point of fact. He's a serious guy. He authored the textbook Power, Strategies for Success in College and Life. You want to be successful in college and life? Of course you do.
Who doesn't?
Well, then we've got some questions for you to answer, particularly if you're in high school in Miami-Dade County or New Trier. The sexuality questionnaire, what do you think caused your heterosexuality? Is it possible that being straight is just a phase you may grow out of? Amy. Considering the menace of hunger and overpopulation, could the human race survive if everyone were straight like yourself? It's an odd question, but yeah. What do you when and how did you decide you were straight? If you're identifying as straight right now.
When I played sports. I still laugh, though. Sometimes I get hit on by
when you played sports.
Lesbians.
When you played sports, you decided you were straight?
Yeah, I knew.
Wow, how?
Because I had people on my team that were lesbians.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, let's be friends. Oh!
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I just knew,
Did you at least give it a shot?
No, I didn't, Dan. Thanks. Didn't go there.
That's
kind of on the down low back then. I mean,
there's no I in team.
You think it would have helped us with our record of
There is
victories?
one in lesbian, yeah.
Oh, yes. No, I know. I mean, everyone, have you gotten hit on? Or do you not want to go there? And I can't believe I just asked that
I've never been hit on by anyone of either sex.
Anyone with two legs? Sorry. It must be lonely being Dan.
Two eyes. Yeah, never. Is it possible your heterosexuality stems from a neurotic fear of others of the same sex? Boy, you really got me thinking now. To whom have you disclosed your straight tendencies? I like that use of straight tendencies because it implies that they're not hardwired.
Right. Okay.
Why do straights place so much emphasis on sex? It's odd. I don't see a lot of scantily clad heterosexuals marching down Broadway every June. But okay. Interesting. Provoking thought, which is what we should be doing for our high schoolers with questionnaires like this, of course. There seem to be many unhappy heterosexuals. Techniques have been developed that might enable you to change your sexual orientation. Have you considered changing? Let's go. Be honest. Give us a call. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Maybe I thought it was just the dating pool, a la Why Dan Proft is Single. But, yeah, he really got me thinking.
Do you think life is easier if you're gay? I mean, you're celebrated all that. You're celebrated for an entire month. People have fought for this country, have been disfigured, have lost limbs. They get a day here, a day there. But think about it.
Well, this is for an entire population. This is for our progeny, the future of our great land and of humanity by extension. Robert Feldman. Gee, I wonder what his orientation is. The person who concocted this questionnaire. This is a story just out, but of course, New Trier, one of the greatest government schools
in the history of
Western civilization.
Yes.
There's no question.
No question.
Great. I mean, that North Shore is home to the smartest, most talented, most courageous group of people the Western civilization has ever seen. It is the base camp of enlightenment in the modern world. This was like 4 years ago. Of course, we're talking about this for high school children in Miami-Dade County, that questionnaire that I just went through right now. But, of course, New Trier was 4 and 5 years ahead of the rest of the country. They partnered with Advocates for Youth, which is an international advocacy organization based in D.C. They created their own questionnaire as part of their Creating Safe Spaces for LGBTQ Youth Toolkit.
Wow.
Calling on teachers to use the survey to help participants understand the heterosexist bias. I mean, really, do you want to continue to go through life as a heterosexist, Amy, or do you want to...
Should I
give
dabble?
Give it a shot. But, let's put on an Indigo Girls album and just, open yourself up to the possibility.
And one of my other jobs, I got hit on by a lesbian. Was it last week or the week before? And I was just like, oh, I don't, no, thank you. I just thought that it was very nice. I mean, you're flattered sometimes when you get hit on by the same sex.
That was not a lesbian. That was Steve Dahl. It was. I remember it at WLS. Not a lesbian. I can understand the confusion. So, heterosexists out there, or gay people who are listening and wondering if you really want to. If you want schools to be recruiting from their ranks to sort of flip people, what do you think? Is it possible to grow out of your heterosexuality? Just a phase you may grow out of. If you have never slept with a member of your own sex, is it possible you might be gay if you tried it? Well, this was at New Trier. That's part of the Creating Safe Spaces for LGBTQ Youth Toolkit.
That is grooming.
Created by Advocates for Youth. This is New Trier. This is
a leaving or suburb. Yeah, there are betters because they're rich and they have money and they're smarter.
This is a repository of deep thinkers.
That's gross.
Serious people.
If my kid brought that home from school, I'd rip that up and call the school, make sure they got out of that class.
What would you say if he just tried it, you'd ground him or something?
Well, that's none of their gosh darn business, and that is promoting gay behavior.
Is it possible you might be gay if you tried it? Come on, just take a little taste. Just a little.
What, at recess? During lunch hour?
Bridge builder all my life, and one little. And all of a sudden, I'm Andy in Dallas, Texas. I know Andy.
Are you going gay?
He's a heterosexist.
No, maybe he's going gay. Let him speak. Let him cook.
All right.
I got to tell you, I know several guys from up in Chicago, and two of our neighbors in Dallas were married with kids and then went gay So it's more common than you think. I don't see
true.
it myself. I mean, I don't see it myself. I've got a 40-plus year track record of really enjoying vagina, but
Of really enjoying. Did he say Medina?
I think he said Medina.
But he meant something
But
else.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
right.
I like Medina too, but vagina.
Oh, yeah, he did say it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but again, I mean, I don't, you know, I just want, but how do you know if you haven't dabbled?
Well, I think that within these guys' case, it seems like a lot of them just got tired of dealing with women.
Yeah, well, that's understandable. Yeah, I can see that. I see that. Thanks for the call, Andy. I mean, that's what the gays have going for them is women. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
for the heterosexist men
Yeah.
who just I can't do this anymore.
I had a friend in college.
Yeah.
Not in college. Well, in Tucson. I was in Tucson,
Mhm.
and his dad came out gay, and he was devastated. Left his mom. He was just. I mean, it took him a long time to process what was happening.
Well, this is why they're suggesting you dabble in the early years.
Oh,
so you're
right.
You're not repressed, and then all of a sudden you're 55,
and honey, I'm home, and I'm gay, and I'm leaving you for our next door neighbor,
yeah,
Earl.
yeah.
Oy boy. Hey.
Don't bring Earl into
Not. I know Earl's. I didn't mean to besmirch his name.
Rick and Elgin.
Yeah. Hey, good morning. So what happens to me just about every time that if I happen to go to say Trader Joe's or shopping and I'm with another guy, everybody seems to look at us like we're gay. And
well, are you holding
And
hands?
the gay guys will hit on you.
Are you skipping through the aisles of Trader Joe's?
Oh, that's such a stereotype.
Gotta sing, gotta dance.
That's such a that is so bigoted. Oh, that's disgusting.
Why do people think?
Were
you're
you
gay,
making
Rick?
out? Is that
Yeah.
why?
No, they just look at you and wonder. They're probably, And then if one of us wandered off to do his own thing, and then while I was alone, this gay guy came up to me and just Googled me, with his eyes or something like, it's just irritating.
Why are you going shopping with a guy
maybe
at Trader
I just happened
Joe's?
Happened to be out and got to pick something up for the wife.
I know,
if she
but
wants
why are
something.
you shopping with your male companion?
The wife
male-
or the beard? Yeah.
Just happened to be out with them, and it's like you don't want.
Did you guys have your
sounds
hands
like
in each other's back pockets while you were walking down the
Were
aisle?
you wearing matching
No.
T-shirts?
All right.
No, but I wonder how many other people this happens to.
Yeah, they used to happen to me all the time when I went to the manhole. I go there for a drink, and then people are coming up and hitting on me. I'm like, what is going on
Yeah,
here?
I know. I don't know how that happens, Dan.
Joe in Hoffman Estates.
Is he going shopping?
Hey, good morning. When I was younger and found out that my ding-a-ling was more than peeing out of, I turned into a full-blown lesbian.
Okay.
I do have a friend.
Very graphic.
I do have a friend who brought her sister with to the OBGYN, to get the ultrasound, and
You never left?
no. And they thought they were a lesbian couple. She's like, no, I'm just here because her husband is at work. She's here for moral support. They're like, well, you two are going to have a beautiful child. She's like, I'm the sister. I'm not the lesbian lover. Did that story make sense to you at all? Probably not.
Lee and Hammond.
Hey, guys. I think the human body was meant, the way it's designed was meant to reproduce. I think it's called, like God's plan.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much by definition, anything else is degenerate. I think that's pretty much the whole of the whole thing right there. It's not real complicated.
Well, Lee, again, I'm just going back to the educators' power, strategies for success in college life from academic Robert Feldman, who hails from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. This is impressive credentials here. This is a credentialed person. This is an expert, subject matter expert, okay? And have you considered the menace of hunger and overpopulation that maybe the human race couldn't survive if everyone were straight like you, Lee? Now, I don't know if it's how it survives if you don't reproduce, but that's another topic for another
Oh,
day.
boy, I'm getting hammered here on our
Well,
text
because your
line.
Ethel Merman impersonation?
Yeah. And I just texted back. I'm sorry I offended you. Amy, not all gay people are like this, and we do not appreciate it. And I said, I'm sorry. I did
Oh.
not mean to offend you.
Oh, it's all
Well, I
it's
have
all
serious
good-natured
gay
humor.
couples in my life, too. that don't like the Gay Pride Parade and hate Gay Pride Month and can't stand drag queen bingo and drag queens reading stories to little kids, and they see that as grooming, and it doesn't help, people take them seriously. That's what he says.
So you don't think that that high school kids should be filling out this questionnaire?
No. Dear Lord.
Talking this over with their teachers.
Disgusting.
Huh. Interesting.
There's a lot of text messages.
Did you hear the reason that Katie Holmes divorced Tom Cruise?
Oh, here we go. Because of Scientology or whatever.
She found out he was in A Few Good Men.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Can you afford not to have effective video surveillance? Is your outdoor inventory at risk? Theft and vandalism can hit your bottom line hard. Stop these events before they happen. Monitor your business 24/7 with alarm detection systems. We prevent crime with live operators watching video alerts, ensuring your assets and employees are secure. It's not worth the liability when you can effectively protect what matters most. Call ADS at 1-630-844-6322 or visit adsalarm.com for a free demo. Alarm license number 127000143. Spending too much on security guards to patrol your property? With rising crime rates, guards may not be enough. And the cost, it's adding up fast. At Alarm Detection Systems, we offer a more innovative solution. Live video monitoring. Cameras provide extra coverage in even the hardest to reach areas. Unlike guards, they never get intimidated. Our operators watch video alerts in real time, cut costs, increase coverage, and stay secure. Call ADS at 1-630-844-6322 or visit adsalarm.com for a free demo. Alarm license number 127000143.
Hey folks, I just can't help thinking of our stress levels. And high blood pressure is the #1 key risk factor for mortality. In fact, 1 in 2 Americans walking around have high blood pressure. That's a ticking time bomb. But thankfully, it's never been easier to take control of your blood pressure. With 120 Life, a truly remarkable natural juice blend that can actually help you lower your blood pressure without the side effects of taking pills every day. 120 Life is formulated with scientifically backed ingredients from superfruits, berries, and minerals that have been shown to naturally help control high blood pressure. And it works. It's endorsed by 600 health professionals. And I assure you, that's not fake news. I use it myself. I love it. You can try it for yourself risk-free with their 2-week trial. Just go to 120 Life and use the coupon code LIBERTY to save 15% and receive free shipping. If 120 Life doesn't help lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks, they give you your money back. It's guaranteed. Go to 120life.com. That's 120life.com. Go to 120life.com today.
They took everything. Our equipment, our supplies, it's all gone.
It's devastating. Every order is going to be delayed for months, and our customers are going to find someone else.
I don't know if we'll ever recover from this. We're already getting calls from clients checking on their orders.
Who knows how long it will take to get back on our feet? What were we thinking not upgrading our security?
Don't let a break-in devastate your business. Protect yourself with Goldilocks. They'll create a customized security solution for you. From commercial doors with keyless entry to 24/7 alarm monitoring, they have you covered. Learn more at GoldilocksInc.com and have a security technician conduct an on-site assessment of your business. Plus, AM 560 listeners get their first 3 months of monitoring free with a new install. Call Goldilocks now. 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Goldilocks, Chicagoland's premier locksmith doors and security systems company since 1981.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
At Progressive, we understand the bond you have with your boat. It's why people name theirs.
I named my boat Sure Don't. Get it? The other day when my friend said, "Hey Larry, you want to head back in? It looks like it might rain." I said, "Sure don't." I guess they didn't get it because they didn't laugh.
Whatever you call your boat, protect it by insuring it with Progressive, America's #1 boat insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. #1 rating based on boat market share data from ratefilings.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
We got a text message, Dan.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about how
KJP?
Well, KJP should be played by Jamie Foxx. Somebody suggested.
Okay, probably too big a star for that role, but okay, I see it.
And then when we were talking about Sasha, which one? Malia is changing, dropping the Obama is her last name. She's just going to be known as Malia Ann.
Yeah.
Somebody texted in. Michelle is changing her last name back to Ewing. Steve on I-88.
You mean like J.R. Ewing?
Patrick Ewing.
Oh, she does sort of look like Patrick Ewing's long-lost sister, doesn't she?
Just because she's tall and big boned, you guys are so mean, saying she's got a ding-a-ling and all that. She's a woman.
She was also a beast in the paint in her day.
Stop it. And Whitney Young.
And we're talking. We got the KJP thing going. We got the Malia Ann, her budding acting career, and then we got this issue about taking gay for a spin here, particularly if you're
taken
a high school
out for
kid.
a ride, especially if you're in high school.
Yeah.
Like they're promoting it at New Trier.
I mean, it's not too. It's not, and Miami-Dade. It's not too late. No matter the age, but you prefer to get the kids started experimenting in the government school.
Can you imagine if that happened when we were in middle school or high school? We never talked about anybody's sexuality. I mean, really, that's like just such grooming in my mind. But okay.
Tom in Blue Island, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy.
Hi, Tom.
So I've been playing golf horribly and been rejected by golf for closing in on 45 years. I've been rejected by women terribly for 45 years, yet I think I will persist in trying again. I have no interest in switching to pickleball.
Oh, my God.
Thank you for the sports metaphor, keeping it clean. I was thinking about KJP and then this topic, and I just have to go back to something Josh Hawley said that a Secret Service agent told him about Biden. You hear this?
Listen, I'll tell you something that I haven't said before because it came from a Secret Service whistleblower this past year. I talked to so many of them after the attempted assassinations of President Trump. But this Secret Service whistleblower actually was assigned to Biden, and he told me that Biden used to get lost in his closet in the mornings in the White House. What? I mean, the guy literally stumbling around in the White House residence couldn't find his way out of his own closet. The president of the United States. I mean, this is outrageous. We were lied to.
Yeah. You know who else struggles to find his way out of the closet? Cory Booker. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that. About his struggling
what was his
to come out
alleged
of the
girlfriend?
closet.
What was it?
Rosario Dawson.
Yeah. How did that end?
His beard. They broke up. They're just good friends now.
Oh, yeah, right. Were they ever anything more than friends?
I think maybe that imaginary friend he created, T-Bone, Newark gangbanger.
You think there might be a real T-Bone in his life?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Why doesn't he just come out? It's so weird. I mean, because they celebrate that stuff all the time. Celebrate your sexuality. Now's the time to do it, Cory Booker.
He doesn't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Neither does Lindsey Graham. River Page is a reporter for the Free Press. He joins us at 7:37 to tell us how Democrats lost young men like him.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 57 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. President Trump is doubling down on calls to eliminate the country's debt ceiling.
In a post on Truth Social, Trump said he's pleased to finally agree with Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren on something after she called to get rid of it forever. Trump said the debt ceiling should be scrapped to prevent an economic catastrophe, calling it too devastating to be put in the hands of political people. The president said Republicans and Democrats need to come together to get this done. I'm Lisa Taylor.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics is scaling back the data it collects on consumer prices, the basis for measuring inflation. Every month, federal workers visit stores across the country to check the price of things like eggs, haircuts, and countless other goods and services. On Wednesday, the Bureau says it was scaling back in some areas and had stopped collecting data entirely in Buffalo, New York, Lincoln, Nebraska, and Provo, Utah. It says it made cuts when the resources no longer were there to support data collection, while also saying the cutbacks would have a minimal impact on inflation estimates. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical BPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Mike Gallagher can see what Trump does to the left.
These people are miserable. They're just miserable, unhappy, bitter, angry, sullen brats who didn't get their way. The election didn't go the way they wanted it to go. And now all they do is march around and whine about how miserable they are. That's Trump's superpower.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Charlie Kirk at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This is a paid advertisement for legal services provided by Premier Disability Services. Premier Disability Services is not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. This advertisement was produced by Sequoia Media Group on behalf of Premier Disability Services, which is solely responsible for its content. Are you no longer able to work due to a recent injury or disability? This is an important message for you. If you're between the age of 45 and 63 and need help filing for disability benefits or were denied by your insurance company, Premier Disability can help. Call 800-560-1808. Whether you're a first-time filer or filed before and were denied, you'll pay nothing unless you are approved for benefits. Thousands of disability claims are unnecessarily denied each month. Work with a team who'll fight to get you the benefits you deserve, who understands the physical, emotional, and potential financial impacts and will share their insider expertise. But act now, because there are time limits to apply for benefits. If you're between the age of 45 and 63 and need help filing a disability claim or filed previously and were denied, call 800-560-1808. Call now.
You know, daily stress is such a big deal. Fact is, the terrible impact of stress is very deadly and shortens our lives. Stress attracts diseases just like blood in the water attracts sharks. And for over 40 years on Chicago radio, we continue to share practical concepts from a natural healthcare perspective to help minimize your need for all those dangerous drugs and risky surgeries. So today, it's our dirt cheap adrenal stress index test. No blood, just spit. Now, most people don't do so well on their first go around signaling adrenal gland distress. And then they follow our stress busting strategies and pass their second test with flying colors. So if you can spare a little spit, call for your dirt cheap adrenal stress index test and we will hold that same special low price for your follow-up test. Just call 800-794-1855. You can't get any cheaper than dirt cheap. That's 800-794-1855.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves with Active Liver from New Nordic. Find it in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or Amazon, or newnordicusa.com.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 16 minutes, 14 minutes outbound. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Vernon interchange, 28 minutes. On the outbound side, 61 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the old post office, 27 minutes. Outbound, about 21 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 41 minutes. Outbound is about 30 minutes. This report is sponsored by Dairy Queen. Hurry into DQ for their sauce and tossed chicken strip baskets with flavor from top, bottom, and everywhere in between. Try them today in Honey Barbecue or New Buffalo. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good. Only at participating Dairy Queen locations. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Areas of morning fog, otherwise warmer today. Some clouds and sun. A high today 74. Cloudy tonight with a low of 56. And then tomorrow partly sunny with a high 75. Sunny to partly cloudy. Nice day on Saturday, the high 73. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Forever Remodeling. Stress-free and high-quality remodeling. View their stunning transformations online at the number 4everremodeling.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Have to check in to see how the The New Marxist Party's efforts to re-enlist young men are going. They've got this.
He had a name, remember?
Sam.
Sam, yes.
Yeah, the conversation with American men.
Right, because the Dems spent $20 million to learn how to talk to men.
See, it's funny because I thought they nailed it in 2024 with this. This is how you talk to regular dudes, and I thought this was pitch perfect.
I'm a man.
I'm a man.
I'm a man,
And I'm man enough.
I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon.
Meat.
Man enough to cook my steak rare.
Man enough to deadlift 500, then braid the out of my daughter's hair.
You think I'm afraid to rebuild a carburetor? I eat carburetors for breakfast. Yeah. I ain't afraid of bears.
That's what bear hugs are for.
I'll tell you another thing I sure as am not afraid of. Women.
I'm not afraid of women.
I'm not afraid of women.
They want to control their bodies? I say go for it.
They want to use IVF to start a family? I'm not afraid of families.
They want to be childless cat ladies? Have all the cats you want.
Woman wants to be president? Well, I hope she has the guts to look me right in the eye and accept my full-throated endorsement. Because I'm man enough to support women.
Man enough to know what kind of donuts I like.
Man enough to admit I'm lost, even when I refuse to ask for directions. Man enough to not ban young women from reading Little Women. Or one of those pants books that the sisters like. I'm man enough to raw dog a flight. It sucked. Not worth it.
I'm man enough to be emotional in front of my wife.
In front of my kids.
In front of my horse. Oh, I'm man enough to tell you that I cry at Love Actually. Good Will Hunting.
West Side Story. That and Predator.
And I'm sick of so-called men domineering, belittling, and controlling women just so they can feel more powerful. That's not how my mama raised me. I love women. I love women who support their families.
Women who decide not to have families.
Women who take charge.
And I'm man enough to help them win.
I mean, I thought Kamala Harris nailed it there. Authentic men, a bunch of guys go work on the car engine, have a bourbon, and relax with by reading Little Women to their daughter. I mean, it's the everyman. I mean, I thought that was.
I thought that was going to put her over the top.
Totally, I thought that was the difference maker.
And then they ran it, during football games on Sunday, like man up.
Well, sure, because that was dudes. Talking real talk with other dudes, and I can only be that they didn't put enough points behind it. It didn't get enough saturation. Yeah. So I think they just need to scale what they did in 2024. But maybe I'm wrong because I'm not a young man anymore. River Page is. He's a reporter at the Free Press, and he's penned a piece how the Democrats lost men like me. He writes in pertinent part, the truth is, I can't think of a single male friend who self-identifies as a Democrat. River Page, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So,
so what happened?
I mean, that spot that we played, you must remember. I mean, that didn't appeal to you?
No. I mean, it sounds like a pharmaceutical ad for like some kind of prostate medication or something. It's terrible. I mean, like everything they're saying. I mean, it was really like an ad for women who already vote for Democrats. So I mean, it's really their marketing has always been terrible. But I mean, that one was particularly egregious. It's just so condescending. And I mean, the point that I was making in my piece is that actually you don't really have to cater to men specifically in this like very pedantic kind of like, we're saying the word man 17 million times in this ad, so you know it's about you. Like people aren't stupid, right?
Look, it's like action figures. Look, here I am working on the car.
Yeah.
Here I am having a bourbon. Here I am having a smoke. I mean, right.
So they spent, Dems spent, as we just mentioned, $20 million on this study. Mm-hmm. They had 30 different focus groups, and this is what the results are. Democrats, they see the party is weak, over-scripted, and cautious, and Republicans is strong, confident, and unafraid to offend.
Mm-hmm.
So why was
that only cost them $20 million for that? Wow, what a deal!
Just listen to this radio station; they would have been fine. But what was it for you that you registered or re-registered from an independent to a Democrat?
No,
I mean,
the other way around. Yeah.
From became a Republican.
Yeah, so I mean, starting in like 2016. I mean, I was like 19 in 2016. Bernie Sanders was really like the person who got me interested in politics. I mean, I was living on my own, working 2 jobs, trying to get through college. I didn't have health insurance. And, you know, it's like, if you don't have health insurance in this country, it sucks. I mean, I would get like sick and like have to call out to work, and then have to pay like $200 to go to an urgent care to get a note so I could not work when I was like, had like walking pneumonia one time for like 2 weeks. It's, you know, I mean, it's like, it's awful. If you don't have health insurance in this country, it's awful trying to get through school unless you have a full-ride scholarship or parents who are rich enough to pay for it. And so I was really inspired, you know, by the Bernie campaign, and I actually didn't have to register as a Democrat to vote for him that time because I was living in Alabama. But then when I was living in Florida, I did, and I was like, yeah, I'll register as a Democrat, go through the trouble of mailing off little things and everything to vote for Bernie again, because, I mean, he had a message that appealed to me and appealed to a lot of young men. I mean, I actually volunteered for that campaign, and it was a lot of young guys voting for him. And one of the points I was trying to make in the piece is like all of these people that Democrats are trying to reach, you know, say, you know, we need a liberal Joe Rogan or whatever. And it's like, you had a liberal Joe Rogan. It was just Joe Rogan.
Right. And then he left.
He loved Bernie. And part of the reason I think that his political turn happened was that all the attacks on Joe Rogan started when he told my boss, actually, Barry Wise at the Free Press, told her, in 2020 or like 2019 or something, I think I'll vote for Bernie. He's been insanely consistent his whole life or whatever. Then they started, the Democrats and like their allies in the media, they started attacking Joe Rogan for like very sensible stuff he said about trans women and women's sports. And they tried to get him to condemn Rogan, the most popular podcaster in America. And Bernie was like, no, I'm not doing that. That's kind of like where like the demonization campaign of Joe Rogan, which started, you know, which is just going completely off the rails. It's like a 5-year project now. That's where it really started. It was because he supported Bernie. And then I cited, you know, Bernie went on Andrew Schultz the other day, and, you know, they loved him, and they were like, actually, I think like the Democrats need to become more socialist. And that's kind of like the point that I tried to make in my piece, is that if you have like a very like strong economic message where you're willing to name the enemy and say like these giant healthcare companies, these pharmaceutical companies, these billionaires, like they are like making the country more difficult for the rest of us, and like, you know, here's a concrete plan to change that, like a really radical vision of like what a better country could look like. That's what Bernie had. I think people felt that he actually believed it. And the Democrats need something like that if they're ever going to win again, because they don't feel authentic. They seem like they turn themselves into sort of like vanguards for a status quo that nobody is happy with. And they don't have a vision for a future. And I can't name an enemy besides like Trump and podcasters and whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting. In your piece, you say that even your friends who still vote Democrat admit doing so only with a bit of embarrassment in their voices, and all of them happen to be gay. None of my straight male friends, to my knowledge, have voted for a Democrat since Bernie. If they have, they're closeted about it. So, so the identitarian thing isn't working either. That, you know, and you mentioned this too, and I think this is a proper way to say this. General respect for minorities is one thing. Deification is quite another. That there's there's people that are magical based on their skin color or, frankly, their sexual orientation, and that's just not the case. Respect, yes. Deification, no. But in addition to what you're essentially saying is the deification isn't working. Oh, by the way.
Yeah. No, I mean, people aren't stupid like that. Like, you know, I know I'm not a better person because I'm a gay guy. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to fool me.
Right. Right.
And I think that it comes across as like actually condescending to people. I mean, that's why you've seen Trump make these massive inroads with, it's not just white men, it's black men, it's Hispanic men. And I think it's because, you know, people feel like they're being pandered to, and it feels very it feels patronizing in a way, to be like, men are terrible, but not you because you're a black guy or because you're gay or because you're an immigrant or whatever. And it's like, wait, what? Why did you think that like there's something wrong with men anyway? I mean, the Democrats. I remember Pete Buttigieg doing an interview with Joy Reid where they were asking about the infrastructure bill that Biden had passed, and they were like, she was like, this is going to create a lot of, kind of like construction jobs, and aren't those jobs for white men? And Pete Buttigieg was like, well, traditionally they have been, but they don't have to be. It was, and there was just like this, like, he took it as a given that like creating, jobs for blue collar white men would be a bad thing in and of itself, which is just like, it's so ingrained into the party. I don't know if there's any hope for them. But I think if they were going to ever sort of reverse this long-term trend of men of, like, frankly, like all different types of backgrounds just like flooding into the Republican Party, it would have to be some kind of economic message like Bernie's, where all of the identity stuff is just kind of like put on the back burner. I mean, it's not like Bernie's a social conservative or anything, but he's never he supported gay rights since like the 80s, but that was like never his like main message, right? It was always like the economics first. And if you asked him about it, he would tell you,
You're right as well. We're coming from different places, philosophically, but that's fine. But you write, if Democrats want to win back people like me, they need to go to war with the rich. They should have started yesterday. I think that's an interesting statement, too, because the rhetoric from the left is when they're not demagoguing based on identity, they're demagoguing based on net worth. And they're always talking about, Donald Trump and his billionaire friend Elon and all the money in they're always, hand-wringing about money in politics and Trump tax cuts are for the rich at the expense of the poor or the middle income folks and so on and so forth. Everything is class envy when it's not identitarian.
Well, it's very selective. I mean, that's my critique is that you can't just you're not actually making a class argument if you're just going after Elon, because I mean that's part of the problem with having people with these immense amount of wealth anyway. I mean, like, once you have multiple billions of dollars, there's literally no like consumer product that you can buy that you couldn't have already bought a couple $1 billion before. So you have to try to radically remake the country in your image, and that can be left or right. I mean, George Soros, people on the right hate him for the same reason that, people on the left hate Elon Musk. I mean, I think, the Democratic Party is so cozy with like the financial class and until very recently big tech, that I don't think it's like the idea that there's some kind of like secret like Marxist party is like just crazy to me. They're not. I think a better message for them would be to take Bernie's message and just be like, do billionaires even need to exist? And like, it's not just because there's, we don't like Elon Musk. It's because we think that there actually could be something bad for society about having people with these like extreme amounts of wealth, not just because, they have things that other people don't, but because it allows people to accumulate massive amounts of power and like it undermines democracy, and that can happen on the left or on the right. So
do you think, what you're pointing to, it seems to me, is to say, look, I hear what you say. I mean, with the exception maybe of Bernie, who you believe is authentic, but I hear what you say, but then I watch what you do. And I mean, I see that you're at the same fundraisers and getting the plutocrats or more money from Wall Street and from big pharma and from health insurance companies as these quote unquote plutocrats that you decry. So, I mean, is it your sense that especially younger people who grew up in the digital age and have and don't just consume traditional media, and there's all this access to so much information that is widely dispersed, that you just can't run the same scam on this generation the way that maybe some of these people who pretend to be Karl Marx in front of base voters, but then are at the same lobster dinners as country club Republicans. You can't run that scam anymore.
Yeah, no, people catch on way too quickly now, and you can, see what people said like 10 years ago. That's why, I think, if they're going to run somebody for president, on a genuine economic message, it's going to have to be somebody new. It's going to have to be somebody out of the blue. It can't be. Everybody's trying to rebrand now. Pete Buttigieg is taking his, he, him pronouns out of his bio, or
and
whatever.
He's got a beard. Yeah.
He looks like a manly man now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the beard works for him. I think that was an improvement, but I don't think he's going to win an election. I mean, Gavin Newsom being like, I never said Latinx.
Right.
It's all of these things are, the Internet Archive exists. Everything you ever tweeted, crazy during the 2020s, it's going to be brought back up. You have to find somebody who is consistent. It's annoying that we have to relitigate the 2016 election forever, but that is what, Trump brought into the mix, is that he forever changed the Republican Party by being, he's inconsistent on a lot of things, but there are some things that he's very consistent on, like tariffs, being one of them. The idea that America's been screwed, and that, we've shipped all of our jobs overseas, and that the elites don't care about regular people. He's been remarkably consistent, and people appreciated it. And I think it's the same that goes for Bernie. So, but Bernie's too old. They're going to have to find somebody else. Bernie seems to think that AOC is the best shot. They're kind of trapezing around the country together on this oligarchy tour. But I remember distinctly, and I hope Bernie does too, in 2020, when all that stuff was happening with the Joe Rogan fiasco, she threw a fit because he wouldn't denounce the most popular podcaster in America and stopped campaigning for him, stopped going to events. Just totally, her political instincts are terrible. And she, she's a theater kid, and it reflects in her life in every conceivable way. She just, when she speaks, she sounds fake to me. And I think a lot of people pick up on that.
I did not know she was in theater, or a theater kid. I knew she was a bartender.
Yeah, I know, but she has
a theatrical personality.
A theatrical personality, yeah. And I think she actually was in college theater or something. She just has the way she speaks, it feels very forced, the emotion.
Yeah.
She's not genuine.
Yeah, I would have loved to see her play Lady Macbeth in, Summer Stock, but I don't know if she's got the chops for that. River Page, reporter at the Free Press, his piece, How the Democrats Lost Men Like Me. River, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you, and hopefully we'll have you back soon. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Crosscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Crosscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Crosscom.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Crosscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
We couldn't decide if we needed in-home care for Dad.
Right. Just some help here and there with bathing, organizing his meds, a walk through the neighborhood.
Oh, exactly. But everywhere we looked, we had a 4-hour minimum. It was more care than he needed. And it didn't make sense to spend extra for it.
Then we found Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest. No minimum hours. We were shocked.
Now a caregiver stops by once or twice a week for just an hour or two to help with the small things that make a big difference.
And Mom loves the visits. It's not just help. It's companionship.
At Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest, we understand that not every family needs round-the-clock care. We serve DuPage, Cook, Kane, Kendall, and Will counties. We conduct free in-home assessments and we guarantee compatibility. Call Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest today at 331-281-0728. Again, that's 331-281-0728. And tell them AM 560 sent you. Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest. Senior care, only better.
Are you planning to remodel your kitchen, bathroom, basement, or whole home? Explore why homeowners call Forever Remodeling the remodeling machine. With over 2,000 completed projects, our expert designers, project managers, and installers work together like clockwork, delivering stunning results on time and on budget. From creative design to detailed installation, we build beautiful, functional spaces without the stress. Call Forever Remodeling today at 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com to schedule your free in-home design consultation.
Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr. Now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world each Sunday morning right here on AM 560. The Answer. AM 560. The Answer.
All right. That was fun. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk federal judicial injunctivitis with Will Chamberlain, Article 3 project at 8:08.
And Dan, the baby is coming. But what about the baby? We'll explain. Today it's going to be sunny, clouds, a high of 74. It's 8 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
It's ridiculous and false. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what former President Biden says, reacting to the ramped-up investigations into his mental fitness in office. Fox's Peter Ducey's at the White House.
President Biden has never been somebody to weigh in on news of the day in real time. So he must be really bothered by all of this talk here at the Trump White House about the possibility of Biden aides pulling the strings while he declined. So now President Biden's office tells us this. Let me be clear. I made the decisions during my presidency, but the current president, Trump, ordered the DOJ with a new memo last night to investigate if former President Biden's aides abused the power of presidential signatures through the use of an auto pen to conceal Biden's cognitive decline.
Now, President Trump also signed the new travel ban with even more countries than the controversial one in his first term.
Very simply, we cannot have open migration from any country where we cannot safely and reliably vet and screen those who seek to enter the United States.
His order bans travel from 12 countries, restricted from 7 more. Democrats call it cruel and discriminatory. Congressman Daniel Goldman tells CNN it's racist, too.
Keep anyone who's not white out of the country.
Now, the president says he's motivated by Sunday's Boulder, Colorado terror attack carried out by a suspect from Egypt who is here illegally overstaying his visa. Mohammed Solomon will appear in court today to face state charges, including attempted murder for setting people on fire during a protest supporting hostages in Gaza.
Black smoke, the smell, the screams, flames around my feet.
Rochelle Halpern at a vigil in Boulder. She managed to get away uninjured, though 15 others were hurt. Israel's recovered the bodies of 2 more hostages in Gaza. Israeli Americans Guy and his wife Yudi were killed in the October 2023 terror attack.
The couple were on an early morning walk near their home when militants rampaged through army bases and farming communities. Hamas now holds 56 hostages.
That's Jonathan Savage. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 59 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. A man is recovering after he was shot while driving on Lakeshore Drive in an apparent road rage incident in the Streeterville neighborhood. The victim, 32-year-old Malik Gardner, says that the suspect cut him off in traffic.
So we started just driving on the side of each other, talking and yapping. And next thing you know, the dude just showed me his gun and he shot 2 times.
Gardner was wounded in the elbow and expected to have surgery yesterday. The alleged shooter is still on the loose. Mayor Johnson is calling on state lawmakers to tax the ultra-rich to help fill a $771 million budget gap for Chicago area transit agencies. Perry Williams has this report.
We do have to have substantive conversations around revenue streams that challenges the rich in this state to step up in a way that does not continue to place the burden on working people.
The Illinois General Assembly adjourned this past weekend without passing a mass transit funding bill. Lawmakers could go back to Springfield later this year to pass transit legislation. Mayor Johnson said he's confident that a deal can get done.
The Chicago Teachers Union is threatening to sue the Chicago Board of Education over proposed budget cuts. CTU President Stacey Davis Gates recently sent a letter to the school board she called the spending plan of outgoing CPS CEO Pedro Martinez an attempt at vindictive sabotage. Martinez is leaving the position on June 18th after a long battle with Mayor Johnson. News is a service of Woodland Windows and Doors. Welcome a Woodland sales expert into your home and you'll get a no-pressure sale, a product expert, a design consultant, and someone who has your best interest in mind. Visit woodlandwindows.com to get started. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes, but now time for the Signature Bank Business Beat.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Kimberly-Clark is selling most of its Kleenex and tissue business outside of North America. The buyer is Brazil-based company Suzano. Kimberly-Clark will continue to own 49% of the new venture. Suzano will own 51%. We'll know more later today about demand for artificial intelligence technology. Chipmaker Broadcom reports earnings after the Wall Street close. Humana, the second biggest Medicare insurer, is reportedly planning to support a change to billing practices. The Wall Street Journal says it has reviewed a document informing congressional staffers Humana is a leader in Medicare Advantage. There's an update today on the job market, the number of new claims for unemployment benefits released last week. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
It's almost time for AM 560's annual golf outing, presented by Signature Bank. And once again, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation as they support America's first responder and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. It's all happening on Wednesday, June 18th at McCray Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. Enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf.
Did you know that AM 560 Radio has a full-service digital marketing division called Salem Surround? If you're a business decision maker, listen up. AM 560 listeners are everywhere your potential audience is. So are our incredible targeting capabilities. We localize digital marketing and put it within reach of every business, small and large, in Chicagoland and beyond. Salem Surround offers AI-powered marketing solutions that reach your ideal audience. Whether or not you tap into the proven live, local, and emotional connection that AM 560 Radio brings, Salem Surround offers a total marketing solution to our partners. All-in-one digital solutions that provide targeted local digital and social media ads, Google AdWords management, website services, video strategy, search optimization, and even a management dashboard to offer you total campaign updates and transparency. Your Salem Surround representative is located right here in Chicago. Experience the Salem Surround digital revolution today. Call 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951.
Virago is fending off viruses and making America healthy again.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. I'm one of the co-founders of Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail.
Here are what some Virago users have to say.
I started using Virago a little more than a year ago. I have 3 school-age kids, and they are constantly bringing home whatever bug is going around school, whether it's a cold, a sore throat, whatever it is. Everyone in the house was getting sick. I started taking Virago to help boost my immune system, and it worked. I haven't been sick since starting Virago. I use just a half a dose daily unless I feel like I'm getting something. Then I'll take a full dose for a day or 2, and I'm fine. I also feel great and more on top of my game, like my memory is sharper. I'm not forgetting things. I absolutely recommend Virago.
Boost your immune system with Virago. Order your bottle today. Visit myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com.
And use promo code IMMUNE to get 30% off.
That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Virago and Maha, making America healthy again.
Prescription products require completion of an online consultation with an independent healthcare provider and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Additional restrictions apply. See website for more details and safety information.
Is Cialis Daily really better than Viagra?
If you like spontaneity, the answer is yes. So when the mood strikes, you're ready to go.
I felt like a young man again. My wife is definitely much happier.
When you take it, you're ready to go. Does Cialis Daily last longer than Viagra?
Guys are raving that the results last even longer.
My partner thinks that I am a rock star.
Because it is effective, I say I'm on a second honeymoon.
It's literally life-changing.
Does RexMD really work?
Over 85% of guys said not only does it work, they saw results the very first night. And you can get your first month free at freerexmd.com with medication delivered direct to your door. There's no copay, no doctor office visit, and your shipping is always free. Visit freerexmd.com to get your first month free. That's FREEREXMD.com.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 15 minutes. Outbound, 18 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burden Interchange, 35 minutes. Outbound, 40 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 51 minutes. Outbound, 32 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 41 minutes. Outbound, 23 minutes. Traffic is a service of Air Right Heating and Cooling, offering AM 560 listeners $56 off of any service, including inspections. Don't wait for a heat wave for that old air conditioner to break down. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
A bit of fog around this morning, otherwise some clouds and sun. A high today 74, cloudy for tonight, low 56. Partly sunny day tomorrow, the high 75. Sunny to partly cloudy, terrific day on Saturday, high Saturday 73. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I assume shortly after start of business today, some federal court in some part of the country will be enjoining Trump's latest travel restrictions announced yesterday. A travel ban 2.0 on 12 countries and restrictions on another half dozen because, well, Trump outlined it. There's a number of variables, but they all relate to our national security, and the substantiation for the action that he has taken is a daily occurrence, with stories like the one yesterday about ICE arresting in Philadelphia a man from Tajikistan affiliated with Al-Qaeda who was paroled by ICE under President Biden. Every single day we have these stories. Every single day we have stories like a federal judge enjoining the Trump administration from moving to deport the family of the man who committed, allegedly, but he did, committed that terrorist attack in Boulder, Colorado, even though they're in this country illegally. So despite the precedent, the Supreme Court's decision in Trump v. Hawaii in Trump's first term, which upheld his travel ban 1.0, if you will, I'm sure we'll see more litigation because there are all sorts of forums where Democrats may shop to find a politician in a robe. What to do about it? Or more to the point, what will the Supreme Court do about it and when? For more on this, please be joined by Will Chamberlain, Senior Counsel at the Article 3 Project. Will, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Great to be with you.
The handicapping of what the High Court is going to do on this matter when?
Obviously we have to see what the case is and what the complaint is and where it's filed and how quickly the lower courts move. But I think that I read what the Supreme Court, or rather what the Trump administration did. I read the executive order. I think Trump's on very solid ground here, both because of the Supreme Court precedent from the first term, but also just because he's very clearly exercising his authority in a very justified way. He's looking at what countries are we incapable of doing proper vetting for, and because they just don't have their anarchy or whatever is meaning that there's no real record system to be able to check up on people, so we can't properly vet any immigrants either for visas or for permanent residence. And so if you can't vet, then you just can't let those people in. That's what he's doing. And in addition to that, too,
in very Trumpian fashion, he also left it open. Look, if you can figure out a way to constructively engage with us such that we have a background on people that are, say, seeking asylum in this country, well, then I can change my mind. And then I can take you off the list. But there are things that you have to be able to do so that we can do what we need to do. And that's eminently fair.
Yeah, it's perfectly reasonable. It's actually kind of crazy that this wasn't already the policy.
Yeah, right.
Right. Like, why are we letting people in from countries where it's not even that they're unvetted, it's that it's impossible to do vetting. So we just cannot possibly know what their backgrounds are or their criminal records are.
And do you think the attack in Boulder, though, motivated him to act on this?
I think, honestly, no. I think they've been working on this. It's pretty clear that this is the result of an executive order that was issued on the first days of the administration, and then this is the result of the Secretary of State putting together the report of the countries that need to be banned. I think maybe there's a slight amount of additional urgency wanting to show that he's responding to this, but this would have happened soon in any event, I think.
Of course, it's not just on matters that relate to border security. Federal judges enjoining Trump from reducing the Department of Education staff by 1,300 people. Federal judge intervening to say you can't stop providing trans care to federal inmates. I guess is there any of the injunctions that have been issued, particularly of late, on spending, on policies like that relate to federal inmates? Are the courts on solid ground here? Is this a Trump problem? Is this a Congress problem, failure to act, or is it federal judges consistently overstepping their bounds?
It's the federal judges overstepping. It's really that simple. There is a constitutional crisis. It's being created by Article 3 encroaching on Article 2. There's just no way around that. You can look at lower courts. The Alien Enemies Act sort of crystallizes this. You had a lower court decision one of them saying that they had the right to determine whether or not there was an invasion or a predatory incursion. I'm sorry, federal judges don't have intelligence agencies. This is not their job. It's not their area of expertise. In every other similar circumstance in the past where, intelligence matters come up, federal judges defer to the findings of the executive branch because there's a capacity problem. And then what the Supreme Court did in the Alien Enemies Act case, where they issued an injunction against the government as a whole before there had even been a lower court opinion, they violated their own rules on procedure. They're not supposed to do that until there's a lower court opinion to review because they're a court of appellate jurisdiction, not original jurisdiction, except in rare instances. So the courts have really not colored themselves in glory, and that includes the Supreme Court. With that said, I think, on most of these issues, the administration will end up prevailing. We still do have 6 Republican-appointed justices on the court. It's not a liberal court. But it's become a little bit too clear that they're willing to drop anything at the drop of a hat to deal with the problems of illegal alien gangbangers, and I think they need to get their priorities in order.
I wanted to ask you about the BBB, Big Beautiful Bill. You said there's one provision, a main provision, that addresses AI, and what's that?
Oh, there's an AI provision that I think it basically will create a federal moratorium on regulation. I don't know. There's good arguments on both in both ways on that one. It's an interesting debate, but.
Something else, Trump that is doing proactively. This investigation he directed Pam Bondi to conduct as to whether Biden aides conspired to deceive Americans about his mental capacity and in whether or not he illegally wielded presidential powers, think AutoPen. Among other areas, reportedly, the investigation will examine activities to shield public from Biden's mental and physical health information, agreements between aides to fake videos showing Biden cognitively capable, false public statements, and a second probe will investigate Biden's AutoPen use for executive actions, including but not limited to clemency grants and EOs. Is this a appropriate use of executive power for Trump to direct Bondi accordingly?
Of course. I mean, there's a real question about whether or not the president was actually exercising his executive authority. Now, I wouldn't be too optimistic about the results here because proving this will be incredibly difficult. Right. You will basically need whistleblowers from the internal Biden administration, and it's hard to see which whistleblowers would come forward because they would all be basically admitting their own complicity in very serious crimes. So I think I would assume that none of them are going to admit that there was anything other than full presidential authorization for every presidential action. So, but that said, it's worth investigating because I think we all know the actual truth, which is that Joe Biden wasn't in charge of good chunks of what his administration was doing and what was being signed in his name.
Yeah, God, in retrospect, he should have preemptively pardoned his entire, sort of inner circle. If he would have known then what he knows now, or somebody around him knows at least. The AutoPen thing specifically, what's your view on this? Because I know when this first arose, there was a look back, and at least one such piece I read indicated that George W. Bush had looked at the use of AutoPen and sought legal opinion as to whether or not it would potentially be problematic if he used an AutoPen on executive orders or clemency actions, even though obviously George W. was of his, right mind and so forth. That wasn't in question, but just that it could be challenged. It wasn't the authentic signature. The report is that his attorneys essentially said the AutoPen stands so long as the user of it is competent, so it wouldn't have been a problem, but he decided just to sign everything himself anyway to be on the safe side. Is there any sort of is that the settled legal opinion on the AutoPen, or is this an open question?
That's my understanding that's the settled understanding. I mean, and the alternative would be pretty nightmarish where we'd have, if you said the alternative, then we'd be going back and looking at,
yes, right.
Obama executive orders, Trump executive orders, if the AutoPen was ever used. And there's a lot of executive orders and signatures that go out the door. So I think the right question is, did the executive actually authorize it? Did the president actually direct the AutoPen to be used on any particular order? Did he know what was going out in his name? If he did, then, that seems like the simple answer is to let those things go, because the alternative is to really undo a whole bunch of executive action that the president's in fact intended.
This is a little bit inside baseball, but your Article 3 project founder, Mike Davis, has been public about this, including on Bannon's podcast recently. And it is somewhat important because of the sway and the resources here. And I'm talking about former head of the Federalist Society, Leonard Leo, who was instrumental in putting together the judge list in Trump's first term, including 4 Supreme Court nominees. And the reported break from the campaign in 2024 to present between Leo, who got like $1.5 billion from Barry Side, who's a Chicago guy. I know, at least a lot of people know. But anyway, essentially turned over a significant portion of his fortune. He was very much a public advocate, very much a free market libertarian kind of guy. He put Leo in charge of using his resources to those sorts of ends going forward in perpetuity. And And then there's been this break, and it's one of those things where you want people that are similarly inclined and have the ability to have significant impact to be aligned, because these are important policy fights, and personnel is a part of it. And Mike Davis has been pretty pointed on Leo, and from what I understand from people I know, I think what Mike Davis is saying is fairly accurate. But just some perspective on it, if you want to offer it, because as I said, it's a little inside baseball, but it's also relevant.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's Leo was very heavy and involved in the first term in getting a lot of the Trump judges confirmed, and I don't think Trump has been impressed with the results in terms of given how many Trump judges are on the courts, how many of them are kind of seemingly undermining his policies, how many of them are seemingly tied to, reading the New York Times and the Washington Post opinion pages and maintaining the good affection of, their fellow lawyers rather than doing, having courage. I mean, because you think about it this way, the legal profession can be very cowardly, especially even the conservative legal movement. I mean, President Trump was flailing in the wind. The January 6th protesters were flailing in the wind. All the big law firms were happy to throw 7 lawyers at this Kilmar Abrego Garcia case, for example, or any number of Al-Qaeda cases, to protect the rule of law. But the moment it was just American January 6th protesters getting charged with unbelievably aggressively by the DC U.S. attorney's offices, these white shoe conservative lawyers were nowhere to be seen. There wasn't any pro bono help for them, except I had a friend, Bill Shipley, who was flying in from Hawaii into D.C. to represent these people because they weren't getting any representation from the D.C. bar. So, I like the fact that Trump is looking in a different direction. He's not looking to Leo. He's looking for, judges who are courageous, who demonstrated the courage of their convictions and the willingness to go against the herd. And I think, Emil Bove is, I think, the best example of that. I think he's, he represented Trump when nobody else wanted to. And, he's a serious lawyer with 10 years in the SDNY as a prosecutor, clerkships galore. But, he was willing to take on the Trump administration representation when other lawyers weren't. And, he's been very bold and as acting number two in the DOJ. So I think, if he was the very first appellate appointment, if he's kind of indicative of what we're going to see going forward, I think we're going to have a lot of good judicial appointments this term.
Will Chamberlain, Senior Counsel at the Article 3 Project. Will, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You deserve a dedicated financial resource. Meet Michelle Shute with West Point Financial Group, a Mass Mutual firm. Michelle builds lifelong relationships, guiding families through legacy strategies, from grandparents down to grandkids. She helps people secure their financial independence. Her tailored approach to savings can help you prepare for college, retirement, or business protection. Michelle's needs-based approach helps you prepare for all of life's biggest moments. Michelle Shute of West Point Financial Group, helping you earn, learn, and secure your tomorrow. Email Michelle at mshoot@financialguide.com. That's MSCHOOT @financialguide.com. Local firms or sales offices of Massachusetts Mutual Life Insurance Company. Mass Mutual, Springfield, Massachusetts 01111-001, and are not subsidiaries of Mass Mutual or its affiliated companies. Michelle Shute is a registered representative of and offers securities through MML Investor Services, LLC, member SIPC. Supervisory office located at 30 South Wacker Drive, Suite 2700, Chicago, Illinois, 60606.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
2815 Old Jacksonville, Springfield. CordellCordell.com.
You're great at protecting your personal information. You might even use things like two-factor authentication and strong passwords. But as much as you try to control how your info's protected, there are other places that also have it, and they may not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save 40% your first year with my name Clay as the promo code at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-836-3388. 800-836-3388. Again, that's 800-836-3388.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, just because this is making the rounds, we were talking about it off air. This fifth plane conspiracy theory about 9/11, and since we talked to Jack Ohm earlier in the show, Tunnel to Towers, and remembering 9/11, the 9/11 families, I mean, you know, I'm fine asking questions, and I'm fine. You want to posit theories, but you're presenting something that has been circulating for years. TMZ is in this case, and anybody else who just takes it and runs with it recklessly. And I do mean recklessly. This thing has been, this fifth plane conspiracy theory has been circulating for years. It actually was investigated by the FBI. It was reported, the investigation the FBI did. Now, you believe that the investigation was insufficient or something else nefarious was going on because the FBI has so damaged its reputation over the last several years. But the idea that all I'm doing is asking questions when you're really advancing a statement, a belief in the pretend form of a question doesn't get you off the hook in terms of the recklessness standard.
Sean Thompson did a whole half hour on it.
I don't care who's doing it.
Well,
the point is, I'm just asking questions. I love that cover. I'm just asking. No, you're not. You're making a statement in the form of a question to offer innuendo where you don't have evidence to support it, or even a unified logical theory. So go ahead and whatever. Thousand flowers bloom when it comes to ideas. Lay everything out. Ask your questions. But connecting dots that don't connect, or just sort of wild speculation and supposition about things, I mean, it makes people who do those things look unserious, look silly. And some people don't even do the due diligence to understand that what TMZ is doing is reheating a theory that has been advanced time and again over the course of the last 24 years. Okay? So, provide something interesting and new if you want to refry the beans of a particular theory.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:38, we'll talk about the BBB, the Musk-Trump relationship, the summer soiree. We'll address it all with Dan Henninger from the Wall Street Journal editorial page at 8:38.
And the baby is coming. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 59 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. The House Speaker says that Elon Musk has ghosted him over President Trump's big, beautiful bill.
Mike Johnson told reporters he phoned Musk after the billionaire called the spending bill a disgusting abomination of spending, and Elon didn't answer.
I don't know what happened in 24 hours. Everybody can draw their own conclusions about that, okay? But I look forward to talking to my friend about it again. And
Johnson added he spoke to President Trump, who told him he's not delighted that Elon did a 180 on the issue. Musk has since posted, "Bankrupting America is not okay. Kill the bill." The Congressional Budget Office reports the legislation would add $2.4 trillion to the nation's deficit over the next decade. The bill can only afford to lose 3 GOP votes in the Senate. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
The Justice Department is pressing a federal appeals court to reverse a judge's ruling that blocked President Trump's effort to end birthright citizenship.
The three-judge panel hearing marks the first time one of the nation's intermediate courts has heard oral arguments over the constitutionality of the controversial policy. It comes as the Supreme Court is also considering whether it should modify the lower court injunctions to allow Trump to partially begin enforcing the policy while the legal challenges are resolved. I'm Brian Shook.
News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Your home is a valuable asset, and you want to take care of your home. From roofs, siding, windows, and doors to furnaces, flooring, landscaping, and much more. Listen to your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio every Sunday morning at 9. Presented by Lang Home Medical Equipment, Valdecast Windows and Doors, and by JeffBuysYourHouse.com. Get answers from industry experts so you can make informed decisions about your home improvement. Right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Wow. At the time of this being written, both gold and silver are up some 40%. That's 40% in just 1 year. In fact, this past year, gold has broken all-time historic records by hundreds of dollars an ounce. And unlike all other financial instruments used today, that historic record goes back thousands of years. In times like these, prices have never been better on most collector and gold coins. Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is trying to keep up with demand. So they're paying the most ever on not only most gold coins and bars, but also those old coin and paper money collections. They're especially looking for the scarcer dates and higher grade coins. Take advantage of the record high market price and our huge demand now, whether you're buying or selling, or just want to find out their worth. Fox Valley Coins is the place to go. Fox Valley Coins is on Route 59, just 1 light north of I-88 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. Family owned, integrity since 1981.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Hi, it's Sean Thompson. You know, there's an old saying out there. Small hinges swing big doors. In other words, doing little things right can have a big result. Tom Fortino and the team of Alpha Wealth Group have been helping people retire since 2010 and have found that while many have an investment plan, very few have a tax plan. And that can be the element that makes a huge difference when it comes to money you'll have to spend in your retirement. What if you had a plan that protected you against future tax increases by the government? What if it kept your Social Security taxes from going up, all while keeping your Medicare premiums down? It is possible, and that's just the beginning. What kind of hinges are on your retirement door? You either have a tax plan or you don't. Call Tom Fortino and the team at Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-864-6711. That's 630-864-6711. Or download his complimentary Alpha Wealth reports by visiting alphawealthgroup.com.
This hourly segment brought to you by Unleash Your Wealth with Raj Shah and Rick Borick this Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Learn more at scwealthadvisors.com.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 15 minutes. Outbound, 18 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burton Interchange, 35 minutes. Outbound, 40 minutes. On the Eisenhower, inbound from Wolf to the old post office, 51 minutes. Outbound, 32 minutes. On the Stevenson, inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 41 minutes. Outbound, 23 minutes. This report is sponsored by Macy's Backstage. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about essential warm weather styles, just $30 and under, like dresses, shoes and bags, men's and even kids' looks. Find the latest trends, new arrivals, and great prices at a Macy's Backstage store near you. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Areas of morning fog, otherwise warmer today. Some clouds and sun. A high today 74. Cloudy tonight with a low of 56. And then tomorrow partly sunny with a high 75. Sunny to partly cloudy. Nice day on Saturday, the high 73. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The case of Alex Shea at Brown University. Shea was the Brown undergrad who essentially doged Brown University administrators, not in terms of deciding what would be cut, but by asking questions like Elon Musk and the Doge boys were asking of federal bureaucrats. What do you do? What did you accomplish this week in furtherance for what you allegedly do? Those sorts of questions. And he was whistled before the inquisitors at Brown, disciplined for his impudent behavior. Well, that has been reversed. Interesting. There's a new sheriff in town, and he is none too pleased with the performance of Ivy League schools, or the elite schools, generally speaking, on a range of matters, including the high-handed approach to the public, to the student body that so many have taken. She joined Fox News to detail this reversal of fortune on campus.
Yeah, so prices at the Ivy League are just skyrocketing like crazy. At Brown, it's going to be $93,000 a year next year. What? And part of the reason why costs are growing so drastically across the board is because of the number of administrators. Now, I'm not talking about the professors here that teach your classes. I'm talking about people that sit at a desk in some administrative building, and they write memos, and they fill out spreadsheets. And there's 3,800 of them at Brown. And that's just insane. Since we're a small school, we've only got about 7,000 undergrads. And so I emailed all of them to the email you mentioned to ask them what happened. And I guess when you investigate the administration investigates you back. A bunch of deans teamed up to charge me with various things from emotional harm to violating the technology policy. And they just threw the entire rule book at me. But I mean, like you said, I was cleared earlier this week. They determined that I hadn't done anything wrong. And I think it's pretty clear this was retaliation against me because they didn't like my reporting.
No question about it, because he reports for the on-campus paper, the Conservative Alternative, I think, to the daily student paper on campus there at Brown. I love the sort of Yakov-Smirnoff construction there. When you investigate the university investigates you. Exactly. And what happened when he sent this request out, through the email list of all the administrators? He actually said some responded, and some responded actually quite constructively. I mean, there's some responsible people on these campuses that are serious about their jobs, but not most.
Brown told people not to respond. And most of the communication that we got back was hostile. Like this dean charged not only me, but the entire board of my newspaper, the Brown Spectator. Do you know why? Because she said that naming ourselves the Brown Spectator is a trademark violation, even though there are a bunch of other student newspapers too that use the word Brown in their name. So it's pretty clear that this is just very flimsy. And they're covering up their antitrust violations. Congress is investigating Brown in the rest of the Ivy League now for price fixing and other violations of the Sherman Antitrust Act, I think it's pretty clear that there's something fishy going on here. They're trying to silence people who are exposing it.
It's been going on for a long time. Actually, it's funny he mentioned they tried to disallow the students from using Brown in the name of the student paper, the Brown Spectator. That happened to me at Northwestern when I was part of a group that started a independent alternative to the Daily Northwestern on campus. And when we ran afoul of, the vaunted student government and the general political culture on campus, that's the same thing that they attempt to do. You can't use the Northwestern name. And we actually had a pretty pitched battle over it, and we were ultimately successful, and thanks in part to what surprisingly was actually an enlightened university president at the time named Arnie Weber. We don't have such things at Northwestern these days, or most places don't. But this is what they do. This is what they've been doing for 30 years, which is why about, 5 or 6 years ago, Andrew Sullivan said we all live on one big college campus now. Yeah. And so if culture is incubating through elite institutions, then we should pay attention to those elite institutions. And the Trump administration certainly is, and I'm glad. Just another example of this. When Noah Worksman began his first final exam in law school, the classroom was half empty. There were maybe 60 or 70 people in our cohort, he said, but at least 30 were missing. This was at Pepperdine's Caruso School of Law in Malibu. It was what we call a racehorse exam, he says at the final. Pretty guaranteed you're not going to finish, but you have to move as fast as possible and rack up as many points as you can. He later learned that the absent students weren't running late. They would be completing the exam separately using extended time, a testing accommodation that the Americans with Disability Act requires schools to make available for students with conditions that impair major life activities such as learning, reading, concentrating. So you get like 1.5 times the amount of time to complete these exams. More than a third of the school's law students received testing accommodations, the most common of which is extended time. There's a piece in the Journal by Jillian Edelman, who's the Joseph Rago fellow there. Law schools don't disclose their rates of accommodation, but a 2023 Oregon Law Review paper reports data on public law schools obtained through state public records laws. As of 21, before the post-COVID rise in disability accommodations, the accommodation rates were 21% at University of California, Hastings, 25% at UC Irvine. Private law schools like Pepperdine aren't subject to them. The Law School Admissions Council reports that only 12% of first-year law students nationwide had a mental or physical disability, according to them, suggesting that many of the students who don't need accommodations are using them to get a leg up. Oh, you don't say. The California bar exams accommodations rate, by contrast, is around 7%. So the bar exam accommodations, 7% require and get. But at these law schools, it's 21 and 25 and 33. It's a scam. It's like... your support animals on airplanes. It's a scam because I just want my dog to be with me on the plane.
Okay, easy.
I mean, that's what it is. But what happened to this Noah Worksman kid for raising this issue? He was summoned to a meeting with Pepperdine's assistant dean.
Oh, my gosh.
Quote, he tells me that there are allegations against me that I've been bullying specially accommodated students and I've been stalking and harassing them outside the classrooms. I'm creating a hostile environment for them on campus, and that if my behavior were to continue, the hammer would come down on me. He didn't do anything. He just wrote a petition saying there's a scam going on and we should do something about it. The people who aren't participating in the scam. And if you disagree, then don't sign the petition. This is the culture on campus.
Nothing has changed.
Dan Henninger is a writer for the Wall Street Journal editorial page. He joins us now. Dan, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you, Dan.
I mean, this is why, it's stories like this, the Alex Shea story out of Brown, the story that your colleague wrote about at the Journal about Pepperdine Law, and so many more over so many years, why at least people like me are so delighted by the attitude the Trump administration is taking to higher ed. It's, to me, so much of this, almost all of it, is long overdue.
It's long overdue. And what has been happening during that period of long overdueness, as the student at Brown made clear, is that
cost of going to these places just keeps going up. I mean, that's mind-boggling. Brown, $93,000, basically $100,000 a year off the top to attend a university. And then what is coming out of it? At Pepperdine, would you want to hire any of those lawyers who are scamming the system the way you described it? That'd be a wonderful representation to have. The problem fundamentally, and it goes back many years, is that there's no real oversight of these institutions, of these universities. He described 3,000 administrators working in a school for 7,000 students.
Yeah.
I can remember years ago, Dan, I used to get Harvard's own, the university's weekly newspaper. And it's a big, fat tabloid about the university. The most fascinating aspect of the Harvard newspaper was the last 10 or so pages, which was a tiny type advertising jobs around Harvard. And there were thousands of them. Harvard has all of these institutes. They were jobs not just for administrators, but for people to clean up the buildings. And it was clear that Harvard had this tremendous labor force that had expanded because Harvard had been able to expand itself without any limitation or oversight. My newspaper, the Wall Street Journal, has stories virtually every day of a CEO at a company who has been fired by the board of directors for lack of performance, right? But the trustees at these universities hardly ever fire the university president, hardly ever try to measure any performance other than putting up lots of new buildings with some of the trustees' names on them. So, yeah, the new sheriff in town is long overdue in trying to bring some Doge-like efficiency to the American university system.
Well, and also like hold them to substantive performance standards too. I mean, the announcement that according to the administration, DOJ, that Columbia no longer meets accreditation standards. I mean, they're coming after. They say, they're coming. Alan Garber says they're coming after Harvard and the university presidents, other university presidents saying the same thing. You're damn right we are, but we're doing so from a substantive place. We're not coming after you just to come after you. We're coming after you because of all these bad acts, many of which you concede, like suborning anti-Semitism on campus.
Yeah, and accreditation is the Achilles heel of these universities. That terrifies them. They can't function without accreditation. A lot of the other things that Trump is doing are ending up in court. But the accreditation initiative against Columbia is a very big deal because they do have to comply with a set of rules. And if it can be established that they're not, a case can be made that their accreditation should be suspended.
Now, yesterday, President Trump instructed the White House counsel and Attorney General Pam Bondi to investigate whether top aides during Biden's presidency, quote unquote, conspired to deceive the public about his mental fitness. And I was wondering, do you think that is just a distraction from other things that are going on, or is this needed? And should President Trump just move on?
That's a good question, Amy. It's not as though at this point no one realized that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent. Nonetheless, this is a huge event. He probably was mentally incompetent to a great degree through the 4 years of his presidency, almost historically unprecedented. Maybe Woodrow Wilson, who was incapacitated for the last year and a half or so of his presidency, with the presidency being run by his wife and his doctor. We never knew through those years who was operating the presidency. We certainly knew in foreign policy that Jake Sullivan and the Secretary of State were doing. But domestically, we had no idea what was going on inside that White House, who was making decisions, and on what basis they were making those decisions. I would welcome congressional hearings on this. Usually they are something of a farce and theater, but I think those individuals should be put in front of the public and asked to account for themselves during that period, because this was an unbelievable precedent. This is the United States of America, and to have a president who is so disabled as Joe Biden obviously was, running a country this powerful was frightening.
Yeah, and I mean, I know those hearings, people roll their eyes, a hearing in lieu of actually doing anything. But, sometimes you have a hearing and those that are whistled before the committee to explain themselves destroy themselves, like we saw Ivy League university presidents do. So, there is some utility to those hearings sometimes.
And it's fascinating that Jean-Karine Pierre, Biden's press secretary, is now declaring herself an independent, dropping out of the Democratic Party, and has written something of a tell-all book. She went out there, either was forced to go out there or willingly went out there and lied day after day after day. Certainly, she could have resigned at any time if she was that upset about it. Mm-hmm. Be that as it may, I look forward to her book because perhaps we'll get some idea of exactly who was pulling the strings and making the American public, forcing the American public to believe the unbelievable during the last 2 Biden years.
Well, it'll be interesting because I think from what she said since November of last year, she's gone exactly the other way. That why she's leaving, becoming an independent, quote unquote, is because she was so horrified by what she called the firing squad at actually a symposium at Harvard. She called the firing squad that assembled around Joe Biden, and she never seen anything like it, and she was so disappointed by it, and so on and so forth. It sounds like she's sticking to her script because she knows that, or she doesn't know, but she apparently thinks that going the Jake Tapper route is not the route to go. It'll be interesting, though. I don't know. Did
you pre-order the book, sir?
I have not. Yes,
or both of you, gentlemen.
I would not go that far.
Dan,
well, I mean,
Dan, you know what? How about we split a copy? I don't want to.
You read the first half
and full freight on that. I did want to get your view on sort of the BBB and. I don't know. I'm a little bit exhausted, sort of sawing sawdust on this with the big spenders versus the Rand Pauls and the Ron Johnsons. But I do like this. I do like what Mike Lee posted the other day, which is he's taking up Warren Buffett's idea. I'm drafting a constitutional amendment to oust every member of Congress whenever inflation exceeds 3%. It's better to disqualify politicians than for an entire nation to suffer under the yoke of inflation. Let me know what you think. So whenever inflation hits 3%, if this constitutional amendment were ratified, then we just get rid of everybody in both chambers and start over. There are worse ideas I've heard.
There are worse ideas. There's also, asking the Fed to run inflation policy according to a gold standard or something like the Taylor rule, which we don't need to get into, but a rule that nonetheless requires them to keep inflation below 3%. The big, beautiful bill, I think the debt and the deficit have just run like this forever and ever, and it's one of these, as we know, famously called eyes glaze over issues, and the public just lets it wash over them. I don't think that's true anymore, Dan. I think the public is upset about the fact that the debt is well over $30 trillion and the deficit is rising like this. It's a political issue. The immediate problem with this bill is that if they don't pass something, the American people are going to experience a massive tax increase at the end of the year when the 2017 tax cuts expire. And that itself is going to do immediate significant damage to the economy. So they do have to find a way to get the big, beautiful tax cut through by the end of the year. And it's probably going to include some spending. But the pushback from Senator Ron Johnson, Rand Paul, and the rest, it's a very good thing.
Daniel Henninger is a writer for the Wall Street Journal's editorial page. Dan, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Great to talk to you guys.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
The summer heat in Chicagoland is no joke. And if your old air conditioner is making funny noises, you may already know it's time for a new unit.
Look, your air conditioner, it's a disaster. People are telling me it's the worst ever.
Don't sweat it, literally. When it comes to cooling your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best. best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Rebates are still available. Financing is flexible. And at Air Rite, installations are smooth and professional with no surprises.
It's beautiful. Some people say it's the coolest air anyone's ever felt. I don't know. That's just what they're saying. It's doing an incredible job. Really tremendous.
Plus, tell them AM 560 sent you, and Air Rite will give you $56 off any service. Visit Air Rite Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Rite Heating and Cooling, doing it right since 1959.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit where credit is due. Credit for deciding in the middle of rush hour traffic to go back and get their bachelor's and a promotion. Credit for managing 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a full-time job to pursue an MBA. And credit for serving in the military by day so they can study cybersecurity at night. For over 75 years, we've been helping students receive the credit they deserve. With more than 135 degrees and certificates, students at UMGC can use prior learning or relevant experience to earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's, and graduate students can transfer up to 12 credits toward their master's. At UMGC, you'll find everything from online to hybrid courses and lifetime career services to scholarship opportunities, making your education journey flexible, fast, and affordable. Classes start June 11th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right.
Okay.
They got me. Justin is very shrewd, appealing to my vanity. So Serena Kosick is in here.
Yeah, and she's adorable, by the way, and I'm not just saying that.
And she's very well behaved, too. That's good.
I know. Oh.
Yeah.
But she's wearing
Prof University.
Prof
University. Is that a onesie?
Yeah, established in 1972 because that's the year you were born.
I'm familiar with it, yeah.
Where did you get this? Is Bethany, by the way, the mom. How are you doing? All right, speaking of the mic.
She's the one who had the baby, right?
I know, but people always forget.
He got time off, but she had the baby.
Yeah.
Is that what do I have that straight? Yeah. Okay.
So how did you get this onesie, Prof University?
My in-laws made it on their Cricut.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh.
What's a Cricut?
What's a Cricut?
What is it?
It's you can create things with it.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't know how to
Maybe
explain
what about like you maybe like put a little bedazzling on there to make it make it jump out a little bit more.
We could put some sparkles on.
Yeah.
Make it a little girly.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
she's
exactly.
Beautiful. She's tall. You're gonna be tall like me. Yes. I had nothing to do with this.
No, I understand. Don't touch her. You didn't wash your hands.
So I'm like Bethany. When I would bring my newborn around,
it's a parenting tip, by the way.
People had to wash their hands, or I wouldn't let them touch it. Oh, do you have hand sanitizer?
No, you've got the hand wipes.
Oh,
yeah. Good.
All right. Well, how's Justin doing as a father?
Oh, he's doing fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Any stories, real quick, that you can tell in 20 seconds?
No.
No.
How many more kids are you gonna have? Like 6, 8, 10?
Oh gosh, maybe one. Maybe
One more?
One more.
Maybe.
All
Yeah,
right,
then
we're
you'll
gonna-
have the second
we're-
one. Then you're going to plan a third.
We're gonna need more.
Maybe.
Because Amy's shop is closed, so we may need a couple more.
Oh my gosh. Maybe if you'd get married, Dan, and get busy living, and get busy dying.
Yeah.
It's 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
A new round of trade talks at the highest level. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump has had another phone call with China's leader as the tension remains thick. The president has accused China of violating terms of the agreement last month that lowered massive tariffs on each other's imports.
They're going to have to admit to what President Trump wants.
That's what Republican Congressman Wesley